I mean, yes, that's what it sounds like.
Yeah, it's just Breath of the Wild. Breath
Uh,
of the Wild ROM hack.
do we want to ROM hack? Do we want to discuss the midnight launch possibility? Cesar, do you have any interest in going to a midnight launch?
I think he may have muted, actually.
Cesar, did you mute all of us?
I mute everybody, including myself, because I was tired of Moran playing music.
Oh, Brent, you gotta kill it. We've reached that point.
I'm sorry, my deck is musical.
You have a musical deck. We got our hands on your deck last time.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, did we get a thing? I got one from McLeod. McLeod streaming something. Think he's streaming the same thing?
I don't know. They are going after people.
You? I don't
See
anything.
I don't know. They are. I know they've. Oh, motherfucker.
Anyways, certain retailers having a midnight launch. Cesar, do you have any interest in picking up a copy at midnight?
According to Target, my copy comes in like Wednesday,
Whoa.
so no.
That would be amazing. So you would have zero need.
Yeah, absolutely not. I think the latest is showing is like Wednesday or Thursday by 6:45 p.m.
There we are, finally.
That's
Just got the notification.
Yeah, it was so late. That's almost 2 minutes in. I'm not sure what I did wrong there. Make sure we're all here.
Yeah, absolutely not. I think the latest is showing is like Wednesday or Thursday by 6:45 p.m.
Wednesday would be awesome. There we are, finally.
Just got the notification.
Yeah, it was so late. All right, we're all good. I hear us all bitching and moaning in there. We're good, guys. We're fine. What does yours say? Brent, we are live on the internet.
Mine still says May 16th for both the Amiibo and that. I also ordered the guide that went live. I pre-ordered the guide, the hard.
I'm guessing we all did, because I was shocked
yesterday.
to see a strategy guide in the year of our Lord 2023.
Oh, I bought that hardcover one for Breath of the Wild too. It's a beautiful guide. Plus, I loved the map.
Don't I have my Target app on here? I don't know who I got that from. I think I have multiple copies coming in at this point.
That literally just says order received, so I don't even know when the guide is coming.
I canceled mine because I think Target had that 50% off deal, and I got it for 50% off.
Excellent.
So.
That is excellent. I finally returned the system. Remember, I asked you guys, like, do you guys need this? It's coming. And then I forgot to cancel it, and it showed up before release date. I'm like, I never get anything on release date from Target. How does this happen? This is the collector's edition from Target. Nothing yet. Cesar, you're still the lucky Target person. Here's my...
Yeah, there's a reason for that. So
my only Target luck I got was the 2 free Metroid Primes they sent me that they refunded. That was it.
There are times I'm out of town, so I think I pay the UPS 1 year $20 a year thing. So it allows me to get free upgrades throughout the whole year. So every package I get from Target, I just do a free upgrade, and I get it in like 2 days.
That's great.
So.
It should be that way all for everything.
Because I use it when I'm out of town, and I can redirect my packages to a local office instead of it sitting outside my house for like 4 or 5 days.
Redirect your package.
Oh god, we had a Hands on My Deck episode last episode. I don't think we can do packages. People block us, mute us, and unfollow us. The trifecta. As soon as we start talking about this, Nintendo email comes out about Tears of the Kingdom.
Oh, that email's already been...
Oh, they're nonstop. The marketing thing is gearing up. There we go. There's my Target code. Guys ready for my super secret Target code? 650306.
It's already entered.
Yes, this code has already been redeemed. Damn it. It's not good. It's not looking good for me. I don't think that current balance is accurate.
Do 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 do.
I don't think news is going to take up too much.
No, not really.
I want to hear about Brant's deck adventures and Cesar's GTA 4 adventures. So, Cesar, do they automatically grab that package and ship it faster because of that tier? Is that how that works?
Yeah, UPS notices that it's tied to my email address, so the UPS is like, you got a package just entered in for Target. Do you want to do a free upgrade? And I was like, sure.
And you get Target stuff via UPS. My shit is always FedEx.
It's 50-50 sometimes. So this Zeldin one happens to be on UPS. Sometimes it's FedEx. So.
Because I took
and sometimes I think my Advanced Wars came in from UPS to U.S. Postal Service, so it took like 15 days to get here. So.
Oh, there will be a sequel announced to that by the time it comes out. By the time you get yours.
They try to punish me for getting it on buy two get one. They're like, we'll send this the slowest way possible, and it sat there in this the Stockbridge post office for like 4 days before they decided like, oh, now we got to deliver this.
Yeah. Well, I've got a PS5 on a FedEx truck still, 2.5 years later.
Yeah, I told Renee about it. He didn't believe me. I was like, yeah, that's why he texted you about it. Right?
That's what that was.
I guess he started randomly bitching about FedEx. And it's like, yeah, it's like Richard knows the pain. They still have his PS5.
They got me on something else, too, I think. Oh, I bought some Christmas gifts, and they set it outside in the rain. She still pisses me off with that. Major annoyance. Yeah, I wish I could determine something like that and make sure I get it. I would pay. Corporations, right? What's your thing with corporations, Cesar? They're just there to make money. It doesn't fucking matter. There's no loyalty or anything.
They don't get too fucks about it.
Does not matter. I'm like, because my first thing is like, I've been a red card holder since 2008. It's like, they don't give a shit. I'm sure there's like some 1994s out there.
They'll be like, there'll be somebody else that comes right behind you and replace you as soon as you leave. That's usually how they think.
Yeah. Same with retail and restaurants and everything else. OBS. Renee says my voice is behind a little bit.
The voice master, Renee?
Yeah.
Behind
the judges of the voices. I'm behind. He says I'm behind specifically.
Behind who?
Who am I behind? The legendary PS5 on FedEx. Yep, that's it. Cesar likes to joke that they're going to drop it off and I'm going to have like the FIFA Ultimate Team 2020 unlocked. just that old FIFA.
They're delivering that PS5 when the PS6 comes out. They don't need it anymore.
Or what is
Cake
it
dust.
today the deadline for the instant collection? Like they'll deliver it tomorrow with all the PS4 games on there. It'll be a good time. All right, y'all ready to hit the ground running? Let's do this. Oh, I had one more thing I had to look at.
Sure.
I think I know the other one. Y'all get special introductions tonight. Oh, this might be the worst insult you've ever received on on NOFODcast. Just prepare yourself. Be flexible.
I don't know. I'm still mad that I have 1 penny in my Steam wallet. It just sits there. It says,
wow, how do you spend that? How do you use your wallet credit first?
I don't know. I'll never use it. I'm just gonna let it sit there.
Oh,
1 penny.
God.
I gotta buy something that's $5.01. I look at it every day when I look at my name. It says I own 1 penny in my wallet.
Ooh.
So you literally have a cent to your name.
Exactly.
Oh my God, there's an SNL skit too. Holy shit. Somebody beat us to this bit. All right. You guys ready? Stupid. God bless podcasting. The creative freedom that we're allowed. All right, I'm running out of monitor space. I'm not Cessaring it over here. Y'all have to let me know if something fucks up.
I only got a switch to the one monitor and I got rid of the other one. So
you're slumming it like the rest of us.
Yeah, but my one monitor is like 43 inches, so I just spread it to
TV.
Like different.
It's not a monitor, Cesar. It's a TV. There's a difference.
It's when they gave it to me, it was categorized as a monitor, so
that counts. That's fair.
I just like okay,
that's fine. I'm fine with this. I'm fine with this real estate. Are we going? Seems like it.
Could be worse. We could all be playing Lightning Returns on Fantasy 13.
Is it Steam Deck verified or playable?
I think it's playable.
Probably get it playing.
Now I'm checking to see if it is now. I don't know why.
It's foreshadowing. It's Brant's foreshadowing. He's gonna.
Hey, it's just like I saw Resident Evil 5 is like not playable at all, but apparently there's a very simple fix to get it playable.
They're all, and you're gonna figure this out. They're all like one step away from being fine. I've not run it anything. It's just like
everything else is. Yeah, everything else I've downloaded 2, 3, 4, 6.
I've looked at your Resident Evil. It's a dedicated Resident Evil box for you, or the games that the titles that I sent to you.
Yeah, and then I've got like Portal,
Half-Life,
Left 4 Dead. What's weird is like Left 4 Dead 1 is like it's playable, and then Left 4 Dead 2 is verified. Like great deck. Like
Left 4 Dead 2 is like pretty much the whole game in at this point. I mean, then it can add the maps in the first one too and the characters.
They're stupid because sometimes that verified will just, or that playable will just be a mouse click. Like I think that's what's separating Skyrim. When I boot Skyrim, I have to tap play on the screen and then I'm in. And I think that's separating it from verified. It's just playable.
I know sometimes it's something simple like that. Sometimes it's like text sizes of boxes and windows and things like that. Apparently, it's very rare that it's something game breaking.
That's not often. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome.
I'll start.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 256 of the NOFODcast. We're officially 256 bits. The sequel to Mario 128. This week, Renee's already interrupting me. Bringing back the Assassin's Creed of games? The air conditioning? What is this? I don't even know what this is. We finally cut our air conditioning on today. We're in the South. This is what happens. This week, on episode 256, I might have mentioned this. 256 bits. Xbox didn't deliver? Question mark. What is that? Sony shutting down Pixel Opus. Find out more details later. Cesar gets a new Double Dragon game. We'll skip that one. Nothing to see here. Tune into Cesar's exclusive stream at a later date. Whenever this comes out, we'll discuss, I guess. And we have your May Game Pass games. I am one of your hosts, Richard Bergman, playing the part of Charlie Bucket for today's episode. And I have a golden ticket. And who do I want to take with me? Will it be Newsmaster Brent McKee playing the part of Grandpa George? Who was Grandpa George? Where was he peeing and pooping?
And all the rest of those poor people were bedridden, probably had bed sores and couldn't walk, and he got out of bed and was fine.
That would be our resident page master and lore master, Grandpa Joe, played this week by Cesar Concepcion II. Cesar joined me in the chocolate factory. We're gonna have to burp at some point, I believe.
Excellent.
Brant, stay pissing in the bed. The first,
I'm Willy Wonka then.
So the first article I looked up had like 5 people, and I had to clarify. I was like, "Is there 5 people in that bed?" I thought there was. Yes. Cesar, how are you nodding? There's 5 people in there. Where was the 5th one land?
It's a big bed. The big bed?
No, where was the 5th person? I didn't think that. I thought that was a typo. I thought it was 2 sets of grandparents. They had a grandpa. Hold on. Here it is. The grandparents from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I'm not going to read all of this article. I'll start off this one, okay? Grandpa George. This is you, Brant. Grandpa George was by far the smallest contributor to the piss pond of a mattress that he occupied with Charlie's other grandparents. The silver dollar pancake-sized stain on the crotch of his pajama pants was a mere afterthought to the bisque rapids coming from his bedmates. Next to them, it was hard to tell when Grandpa George had pissed the bed at all, outside of whether he'd momentarily stopped snoring in his sleep and let out a pathetic moan. So there's Grandpa George, there's Grandma Josephine. I think I remember Charlie saying that name. There's Grandpa Ubeck. There's Grandpa Joe. And then there's Grandma Georgina. I don't remember there being 5 people in the bed. I don't understand. I'm totally thrown off.
Watch the movie again.
Grandpa Ubeck was the grandparent who lived under the covers at the center of the bed. There he'd pray for his sweet grandson to get sent to a factory for a nice reason while wetting himself and the feet of his bedmates. This article I found on iHeartHollywood.com ranks the grandparents and the amount of urine they produced in the bed. Who kicked this off this week? This was somebody's fault that I had to incorporate this.
It was me.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's right.
See, in the movie, yeah, it definitely only shows 4 people.
They had other golden items according to Brant's lore, and we had to riff off of that. And then Cesar saw a tweet somewhere, was like, no wonder it stinks in here. What does that smell? All right, now that we got our introductions out of the way. And I won the chocolate factory, so you guys are free. I'm letting you guys out of the bed. We don't have to stay there anymore and slum it.
Yeah, we got get in the glass
fine.
elevator.
We're in a sequel. Is it a direct to video sequel, or are we waiting for the inevitable Johnny Depp reboot years later?
I mean, they got a movie with Timothy Chalamet or whatever his name is going on Netflix. I think they're doing the sequel as well.
I think he has the look of that role.
He's supposed to be Wonka.
Sure.
Yeah,
that won't be too bad. It's direct to Netflix.
Netflix, I think, spent all that money for that those IPs from that writer. Was it Roald Dahl?
The BFG, James and the Giant Peach.
They got everything. They got his whole catalog of remaking.
The Three Witches, I think, was one of them. Sound off in the chat with your favorite Roald Dahl story. James and the Giant Peach would make a good video game. You have like a hub world as the Peach, and then the Peach is just like flying around, and the various creatures give you quests, like the grasshopper and the ladybug. I think the ladybug was not a lady. Didn't they make that joke before ants did? So ants or bugs?
Yeah,
or Bug's Life. Bug's Life. Ants or bugs. Those were the two. Yeah. Which movie are we going to see this summer? I don't know. They're both the same. We're either going to see ants or bugs. Close out this godforsaken Charlie and the Chocolate Factory window. It's constantly calling to me. Speaking of calling to me, Xbox didn't deliver on 2022's showcase, but Phil Spencer is enthusiastic about this year's. This is according to esteemed writer Chris Scullion at VideoGamesChronicle.com. Xbox boss Phil Spencer has stated the company failed to deliver on what it showed during last year's showcase presentation, but says he's very enthusiastic about this year's show. Speaking to Kinda Funny Games' XCast podcast, Spencer was asked by Paris Lilly about the previous Xbox showcase, which took place June 2022. Last year you had the 12-month plan. You didn't necessarily deliver on all the games, Lilly said. No, we didn't deliver, Spencer interrupted. There's no necessarily. We didn't deliver. Spencer was then given a list of upcoming games Lilly said players didn't know much about, despite having been announced long ago. Oh god, this sounds like our podcast. Including Avowed. What is that? Anybody know what Avowed is?
Yeah, it's that first-person RPG from like an NXL or Obsidian. That's the one that looked pretty good. That was I think it was series exclusive because everybody was bitching when they announced it 2 years ago when it wasn't playable on standard Xbox One. And
that discussion seems to have flipped in the past 2.5 years. Perfect Dark, Everwild, Fable, State of Decay 3, and Contraband. Going on to discuss this year's showcase, Spencer said, I'm not going to try to oversell showcase here because if I was on the other side watching this, it's like, hey, after Redfall, I'm going to put my hands on the controller and that's what it's going to take to prove it to me. But that's not what Showcase is, so I'm very enthusiastic about Showcase. We're going to announce some things that people haven't seen, some new games, and we're going to give updates to some of the things that were on your list. That's what we want, right? Is that what we're asking for from this platform holder?
So, out of the same interview, there's also been some interesting other bites that have come out. Of course, they he kind of apologized for the state of Redfall. As well as, let me see, I know I've got that pulled up here. There was a quote saying, "Just making great games won't change Xbox console market share."
Yeah.
And
I think the quote at some point was like what game was it coming out he was pointing out on PS5? Was it Final Fantasy? Some console PS5 exclusive. He's like, when this comes out, it's not going to make people sell their PS5s and get an Xbox. Or whatever the vice versa was. No, Starfield. He was talking about Starfield. He says if it's an 11 out of 10, it's not going to cause people to sell their PS5s and get an Xbox immediately. So they know that's down there.
But you have to think back in the 360 days when they were a force to be reckoned with.
Or the Xbox days.
Halo.
Here's my hot take. This generation, whatever this is for them, has seemed like a fledgling console maker. It seems like someone new on the scene trying to find their footing, not an established video game partner. They took more risks with the original Xbox than we're getting with. And I know game development takes a long time and all that. We're not game developers. We don't plot that stuff out. But this is like ridiculous. They're right. We were talking about some of these games years ago. This doesn't sound like I must be frozen. Everybody's frozen. Nope, there's Brand. Oof. No. Scared me.
Sorry, I'm looking for a specific part to this other story.
He was looking for Days Gone.
He's always hunting for Days Gone. Cesar, you are frozen.
I know where that is.
Maybe it's just on my side. Cesar hasn't moved in a while. I was looking at Cesar specifically. Brant's moving. Renee says, hate it when Phil mentions about games don't help sell Xbox. That was disgusting to me, and a slap to the people who purchased Series X. Well, it's still sort of a half step, and it's the best way to play certain things. Renee, you saw the benefit of the Series X with 120 frames, so there's, if you're playing Halo or like we're playing Call of Duty, if you're playing one of those titles, you benefit from that. But as far as the console exclusive things that we think about when we buy, maybe we're backwards, right? We've all been playing games for a long time. Here's another hot take. I'll give you this one. We're used to, all right, the Super Nintendo is going to give me Final Fantasy games, Mega Man games, and Mario games. I know I'm getting that. From this Genesis thing, I'm going to get Sonic. I'm going to get Phantasy Star. That really doesn't happen anymore. You have PlayStation with their stable. I would say Nintendo maybe is the person still, like the company still running this console exclusive thing. You're only going to get Mario there. You're only going to get Mario Kart there. Even from the beginning, Xbox has had sort of a PC, not exact parody, but, Knights of the Old Republic, the Splinter Cell titles, which eventually came to everything else. But there's been this like symbiotic relationship with PC for a long time. So much so that you had the 360 sharing so much of that PC architecture, right? It was so easy to develop for right off the rip. Yeah, but these missteps, like there's really no excuses. I don't know what they can say. Yeah. They have the money and they have the brand awareness to I guess take it on the chin and keep moving, but he's right. They got to show something. We've been talking about this for a long time. I let Game Pass go, and what have I missed out on? No, and my console still plays a shit ton of games that I have physical media for. I don't own a single Series console disc. I haven't bought one. Pretty sure I don't have a single one. I didn't buy the medium. What are they? What are those titles?
Most of them are coasters.
What's that?
Because they don't have. Most of them are coasters.
Yep,
they don't
that
have
too.
They don't ship
that too. I don't know. And the Netflix of games, like that's what they hedge their bet on, and they've built that portfolio. We just don't have the things from that portfolio. And all these first party stables you got, we don't see anything. We played the hell out of Halo until we found something that we all enjoy a little bit more. I'm not knocking Halo. I still think it's a solid product, but we're not going back to it, are we? I think that adds up. We're just not.
And that was the other thing in this article saying that they're not in the business of out-consoling Sony or Nintendo. And I get that, but saying that great games doesn't really do anything for your console or market share doesn't really make sense, because great games is where it starts. If you don't have good games that actually work, that draw people into your ecosystem, You don't have anything. You have Stadia, which
it would be like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know that there's a similar thing. We're all, maybe we're different because we all have the option to play elsewhere, right? All of us have access to, and we're lucky. We're fortunate in doing so. If we had hedged our income or maybe our ability on this platform, maybe you'd be more aggravated. Maybe you would be wanting more answers. Yes, I want the best for Perfect Dark. Yes, I want the best for Halo, but what does that actually mean anymore? I have a great Perfect Dark that I could still play with my friends online on that same Xbox. There's a playable Perfect Dark on there.
Yep.
There's also a god-awful Perfect Dark that I'll never acknowledge on there, which I'm going to play on a stream at some point and revisit it all these years later. I'm honestly excited to see what they have to show. I legit think it's going to be more than teasers. I think this has to be the point where those doors are opened, right? And we see some of this stuff. Do we care? What do we want to see? What is Perfect Dark now?
I mean, on some level, I mean, I'm not one of those people that's, hurrahing for the console wars and Xbox sucks right now.
No, and that's not. I mean, people were
closed. If they don't close this deal with Activision, they're gonna die. And Xbox loses the war. And no, I don't want to see Microsoft go out of business. I don't want to see Sony go out of business. I don't want to see Nintendo go out of business. I want them all to keep doing what they're doing and make great games that I can enjoy.
We're 256 levels into the show, and I don't think we have preferences here and there, whether it's an ecosystem or an environment or achievements or trophies or back catalog, whatever it is. We may have some preferences here and there, but we all game on multiple things, so it's not going to be fanboyism that we prop this stuff up on. Because as we've pointed out before, if there is a strong platform, all it does is drive innovation from the others. Like, if that interest is there and that creativity is there, and basically what it comes down to is they're segmenting artists. So if you haven't picked this particular museum to go to, you don't get to appreciate this art. So what we have done in respect for those individual art pieces is we have invested in the things to take in that art. And that gallery over there is looking extremely shallow to justify having that exclusive thing. I'm using it every week, but I'm playing a game that I could play on apparently Nintendo consoles also. I knew Cesar would like that one. Renee's saying Microsoft can't mess up with Starfield, but even if they succeed in the game, what else would they have afterwards? What is that? I mean, is Starfield the new Skyrim? Is that a platform that gets re-released on multiple things over the years? Maybe.
It's also a Bethesda game at heart, so will it release broken?
Right. I know that this game I'm enjoying right now came out 12 years ago, or 11 at this point, 11 and a half, and has taken a lot of work to get it.
It's been perfected, and there's still every now and then you get some crazy shit that happens in Skyrim.
Still see.
You're just like, what the hell?
I described that guy.
Something ragdoll.
I described that guy last week that was in the crab walk the whole time, like through the very important cutscene. And I walked into, it's not specifically games played, because you guys know I played some more Skyrim, but I walked into this house and everybody just came down from the ceiling and then sat in their chairs. And I was like, okay, you guys carry on. Everything's fine here. Carry about your business. They just descended straight down from the roof in the same position. They were already seated, and then they just sat down like on the benches and chairs in the house that I walked into. What were you guys doing up there? Everything good? Burp, Charlie, burp. I don't know. I'm excited about here's my 3, and I guess this will summarize my thoughts, and you guys can jump in there. I want to see where all these first-party investments are going to go with Xbox. I want to see what the live service stuff is going to be from Sony, because if you've been listening to the podcast or playing games with me the past couple years, I enjoy the live service games. I don't know where it came from, but it's fun to hop on and hang out with friends and see the numbers go up and try out new stuff. So if we get a SOCOM or we get a new IP, or I'm interested to see what that level of investment is. And Then bringing Bungie in the stable, that sort of thing, see what that payoff looks like. And then eventually a Switch successor. We're going to see what's next from Nintendo. And those are the three. I'm not saying that's during the Summer Games mess, but those are the three things on the horizon that excite me outside of what I have to play now, which is a shit ton of stuff. And somehow I can keep playing Call of Duty Warzone on Xbox for free and keep chatting with everybody. It's just it's wild. It's not the state of gaming that I thought it would be 3 years ago, 5 years ago. You know, nobody could have predicted this 10 years ago. We didn't have this live service stuff like that. But y'all have any thoughts on how this stuff is kind of mapping out?
See, I want to see Xbox come back a little bit, and I want to, like Phil said, you know, he's ready. He feels like they need to deliver. It's definitely time. And they're already that was another thing. They price cut the external storage.
That was good. That was good.
Swappable little
and
drives,
there's another
finally.
maker of those, right? It's not just Seagate now.
Yes.
Is it Western Digital making those? I thought so.
Yeah. So there's you know, that'll kind of boost people to, you know, buy more into that. They're constantly releasing different variants of controllers. So, I mean, there'll probably be like some kind of Starfield or something, controller or headset or something. That's rumored right now.
It should be. That's Renee pointed out that's what's on the horizon. They have to lean into that. There's what is between here and there? I can't name a single thing. It was Redfall, and Redfall ended up just shitting the bed out the gate.
Oof. Yeah. Which I'm sure Cesar will talk about it a little bit later. I have not played Redfall, but I've heard a great deal about it.
Cesar, you played it? Okay. You texted me, you were like, it's not good. And I assumed it was you reading stuff, but you were like, no, it's not good.
No.
I saw one video and it's bad.
I got a month of free Game Pass on PC, and so I was good until like the May 27th, so I downloaded and played it like an hour or so.
Okay.
It's worse than Dishonored.
Oh dear God! Okay, that speaks to me. That's a very specific reference aimed at me. Jeez.
On the other side with Sony, I don't have time for as many live services. I don't mind jumping into one here or there.
Oh, I'll drag you. Don't worry about that.
Everything's a live service. Everything has a battle pass. It's to the point now where it's oversaturated.
And they haven't really dipped their toe in it. They don't have one.
And that's the thing, is they've dedicated, you know, they're supposed to bring several live service games. And to me, with live services, especially if they're going to bring that much, it's like throwing a whole pot of spaghetti at the wall and hoping at least a couple strands stick. Because with live service games, that's what happens. Either they stick or they don't. And if they don't, they're just going to get shut down, gone into the ether, like Babylon's Fall and so many others. But with that, also that's not their main focus. They have these timed exclusivity deals. There's the talk about the whole rumored with the Konami stuff, timed exclusivity.
I will have all these answers in a month. We'll know all this shit in a month. So some of this stuff will shake out.
So yeah, we'll see. And of course, they've got the new Final Fantasy coming out, and Nintendo's just being Nintendo. They're going to continue to do what they do in the most Nintendo way possible.
Sit there and wait for Call of Duty to get on there.
Release it on the Wii U. What was
Black
it?
Ops 2.
Yep,
and Ghost. Ghost was after that.
Do we want it to be?
And I think a lot of people, and maybe. we're all about the same age. Some of us are older than others, but the days of like a dedicated box having a dedicated library and very consistent content and like monthly releases, you know, just look at that. We always look back at this like fall winter 2001 PS2 lineup: Ace Combat 4, Devil May Cry, Final Fantasy X, Silent Hill 2, Ico. Like, have we had a stretch of that on either platform across this generation? Like that, we don't have that anymore. Nintendo's still doing their monthly big release. Like, it seems like it's slowing down now versus the pace they kind of had before. Like, that just doesn't exist anymore. It's not what it used to be. We pine for this. We have nostalgia for these releases, and we want remasters of them. We want to still have access to these things. We all three talked about in the pre-show buying a strategy guide. That would have been a no-brainer for a Zelda game before, but they don't make strategy games anymore. Strategy guides. They do make strategy games. I think Square Enix came out with like 3 of them last year.
Let's say Advance Wars.
Nintendo had one. Xbox, where's your strategy game? We don't have your guide or your game.
Fire Emblem. They had 2.
Xbox had Fire Emblem. Are you playing on Xbox like you are on Steam Deck?
Nintendo Switch also had Fire Emblem.
They got a bunch, man. They got
lots of strategies. Tactics Ogre.
Dio Field.
From Mission 2.
Yeah. Okay, the strategy genre is well represented here. It's not strategy guides. So Piggyback is making those 2 Zelda guides, the paperback and the collector's edition. It's not the same. We pine for these, like, this is how it used to be, and I guess we enjoyed we didn't enjoy the console wars, but each console had a specific flavor to it, and they just don't have that anymore. And I'm kind of okay with that because I got plenty of shit to play, but I think the 3 of us are kind of outside that normal, I would say the average consumer. So
yeah. Well, that's the thing is, I know somebody asked me the other day. They were just kind of looking, and they said, "You've got both of them, don't you?"
I've been getting this more and more. Yeah, this is getting more and more common.
And I give them the same thing. I say, performance wise, they're both about the same. But honestly, as far as games, hardware support, if you want rechargeable controllers, if you want that, kind of different immersion with the DualSense and its features, then really PS5 is the way to go.
You have to split it down to that. It used to be really easy to illustrate. This one plays DVDs out of the box. This one has 4 controller ports.
Yep.
This one doesn't play movies, but if you want to play the next Mario game, you're gonna have to get this one. Which I guess that still applies, but they had their own identity, and for better or worse, people aligned with those identities, which gets in the way of the actual enjoyment of it sometimes. But that's gone, really. And that first party, I think the illustration is easier to make now because you have someone with 0 first party output, and the one that we got Halo Infinite's been a disaster. I don't think anyone that was in any executive role when Halo Infinite came out is still with that studio, and that is damning of, I say, your flagship title for Xbox. If you think Xbox, I say you have Halo on the mind. You're thinking Halo. It wasn't there at launch, and then it came out a year later. We enjoyed the shit out of it, and then it never rose to the levels of what these other live service titles are churning out, or even a Halo title. You had Halo 3 or Halo 2, and you had a map pack. You could buy a physical map pack and add maps to it. And we would get so excited about the new maps on Halo. Y'all remember trying those? And it's like, we got 2 for 6 months. Then we got another 2 for 6 months. And it's like, well, one of these sucks. We don't like one of these. Or one of them looks really uninspired, and then Forge came out, and the Forge stuff was like, where is this coming from? How are the actual game creators not putting out this stuff? And it's just been, I think if that was the only horse you had in your stable, you'd be really aggravated with the way things have gone. The rest of us just pivot to something else, and it's like, well, that thing's there. It does this really well, but I don't even have the reason to have the subscription with them anymore. I just don't. And I'm not out anything. 0. And I thought this was going to be this big thing, and I kept limping along like a month here, 3 months here. It's like, I don't actually need it. And Cesar just demoed a game they released on it to not great fanfare. I'm excited to see what they have to talk about next month. Am I selling my Xbox? No. It still plays a bunch of shit. Am I donating my Xbox? Nope. No, Brand. I'm not donating my Xbox either. So, we shall see. Hopefully they do, who do we do the theater event with? Was that the Keeleys? That was the Summer Games Fest.
Yeah. Summer Games.
We got a Cuphead pin. What did we get a Cuphead pin for? Why, though?
Summer's Game Fest.
So the last course was announced at that time.
Okay.
It wasn't announced. It showed gameplay.
And they had the animation coming out, right? At the same time?
Netflix. I think it came out prior to that, but...
Yeah,
All right, that was probably the meat of our news. We talked about that for a long fucking time.
I did.
I
was still laughing at Jeff Grubb on that tweet he sent out there with the Key 3 on there. Key 3 days.
Hey, these are your people now. It's not E3 and this big production and this show. It's your popular journalists, your influencer journalists, I guess, and it's Keeley.
And we had the Ryan Seacrest.
He is, isn't he? He's everywhere. But he kept plugging away, being corny. I guess that's the Ryan Seacrest part, and he lived. He survived. He's us playing Warzone. Land in the worst place, get off the worst shots, have to respawn 4 or 5 times and heal multiple times, and still pull off the victory. No gas mask. No plates. No, Renee, don't burn your Xbox.
At least sell it for money.
Yeah. Sell that Series
he does
S.
have a Series S. See, again, like, I have a catalog of physical titles to pop in there and play with their backwards compatibility thing, but that's another thing. We're staying in this conversation, aren't we? Xbox One shit the bed. Nobody wanted one. It's the first time I wasn't compelled to get like a day one console. Famously on the podcast, we talk about Cesar and I jumped at the same time. They were coming out with Master Chief Collection. We got the Gears Ultimate Bundle. It was like remastered Gears, and we played through that campaign in one night. Like, it was this flood of goodwill. And Phil was right there at the charge of all this good stuff, right? And he mentions this in this interview. He doesn't hide from that. But it's been 10 years. You've had 10 years of these missteps of just like, blah. It's not been a great thing. You've got to come out swinging and really get a hold of that stuff. And it's not just like these little tidbit things here and there. And I guess it was Game Pass for a while.
I mean, they got that Microsoft money. So.
Yeah. And I think that's also part of what's aggravating is because I saw them do this in 2002. They swung for the fences. We got a Panzer Dragoon game. We got Smilebit games from the Sega studios. We got KOTOR. We got Splinter Cell on Xbox first. Renee's still threatening to burn his Series S. Renee, don't burn your Series S. I'll buy it from you if you're that bad off. I'll have some dedicated Warzone machines down here. All right, please God, I'm tired of talking about Xbox missteps. They're well noted. This isn't our hot take. We're not dogpiling on them. As Brent said, we would like them to succeed. Give us art in that museum. Some people have just that museum. Do you feel Phil should be fired? No, I don't, because I think he still gets it, but for some reason, it's not going the right direction. And they cleaned house at 343. That was your, does it go above that? Is there more stuff that needs to happen? I don't know. If I was in that company, I would have some more insight, or I would maybe be asking these questions. I don't think he should, because you don't control everything. You put the right people in place to succeed at a level he's in, I believe. And it seems like the resources are there. We did have COVID and all the effect of that on game development, and they're still leaning on that. So we can't say that's a non-entity. But some of these others have been firing on all cylinders. I think there's compelling reasons to have a PS5 and a Nintendo Switch in the year of our Lord 2023, and there are more compelling arguments than an Xbox currently. Just because of those exclusive reasons.
I mean, you saw what happened with Sony. They learned their lesson on exclusive games when the PS3 era.
Yeah.
So.
But
and they made that a priority and made it like kind of like how Nintendo does their exclusive games, which saved them and their rough
And
errors,
even Nintendo led that banner to start off with because I mean, none of us were around except maybe Cesar. But Atari was just like a wide ass open market for cartridges. There was just if you could print plastic, you could get a game on Atari, and you just had a flood of garbage that essentially caused the crash of the market. So Nintendo, for all their faults, when they decided to come back to the West after the success of the Famicom, they weren't cartridges; they were game packs. No, these are different. These are game packs. It's not a console; it's a control deck. You put the thing in this. It's like a VCR. It's a consumer. There was a whole separate pitch to it where they drove that. I'm getting to Renee's point. Renee said they will need quality control. They drove that message of quality control where you knew. Also, they had cartoons and cereal boxes and ads, and it was everywhere. They drove it home, and maybe that's part of Xbox's thing. This is the place to play these. And right now, there's no compelling argument, and there's no marketing to back that. Have y'all seen any advertising that's like, yeah, I gotta get this thing? It does it right. That is a lot of mind share. That's on the playground. That's at the water cooler at work when you're adults. And that's not there.
I mean, what they're trying to do now is they feel like they don't have time to develop these IPs anymore, so they're just going to sit there and buy up studios with these big name IPs to put on their service. So that's their workaround right now. Because I think Phil mentioned that too, where he said that at this point they're too late in the game to develop new IPs, that they better off just buying Activision and get a Crash Bandicoot IP and just throw that on there, and that's their platformer,
That sucks. Honestly, that sucks.
But I mean, that's a lot of what streamers do nowadays, especially the video streamers. So, I mean, that's just that another page.
But we lose, in my opinion, we lose that artwork that makes our industry special. It's what makes that creative, that connection that you have with that box, right? It's silicon and RAM and a controller, but you know what it feels like to sit down and play Super Nintendo, right? There's a feel for sitting down and playing Super Nintendo, which is wholly different from sitting down and playing TurboGrafx. It's not better or worse. It is a different experience. And it doesn't feel different when you're playing an Xbox, and there's no compelling reason to just have that one.
No, I mean, you're absolutely right, but I think at that point he made clear in that interview, like where they're at in the console market is they feel like that's where they're going to be at 30 million, at 40 million. So at that point, you expand upon other ways to play, mobile, other ways to bring other people in. I mean, they feel like they're going to have who they have as the gamers. They're not going to worry about growing anymore. So, I mean, you're going to try to bring in those other people who don't play games, kind of like the Wii and the Wii U, back in the Wii and DS days. So,
you know what that really feels like?
Bringing those new IPs.
Dreamcast. That feels like we have this stuff, and we're not going to make a thing for our box anymore. We'll go make it for other ones. So maybe that's the solution. I'm fine with that too. But don't buy these things and corral them and lock them behind this. Well, I still think Game Pass is a good value, but it's become not a value for me. And if you've listened to the show, you've heard me go over the ups and downs.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about subscriptions, man. I said this before. Microsoft's a subscription company, so that's what their main goal is. I mean, an Xbox is a way to deliver their subscription, so it's not going to be their main way to deliver it. So there are going to be other ones on there. They'll put Game Pass on PlayStation and Nintendo if they would take it, but they're not going to. I mean, not especially if they we get X amount of dollars per game, and you want us to get X amount of dollars for a service. Fuck that. So they're not going to jump on that wall unless they're going to be forced to if they have every damn IP out there. But at that point, you're going to spurn a lot of creative growth. So you're going to have you don't have access to those IPs anymore, so you're going to have other studios develop new stuff beyond those other consoles. So, and Microsoft probably go buy those up when they get big.
You have to make that a compelling argument outside of just purchasing it. There has to be something there. And I think a benefit of having been, this podcast has existed for 5 years now. I don't believe it somehow, but it's been around for a while. And there's documentation of us coming around or turning on certain platforms or subscriptions because of this sort of thing. I would say even maybe as brief as a year ago, none of us had any interest in that Nintendo Switch Online Expansion Plus. Zero. They added a couple extra platforms to that value. We had some momentum behind a family subscription. Voila, we're all in the gate, right? There's a compelling argument to come right.
The family subscription was 90% of the cause of it.
99.9. But they also added.
I mean, I'm not paying $80 a year. I'm not paying whatever that amount is. What, $50 a year, $60 a year?
Yeah, it was $20 per person. And then yes, you're talking about the basic one was $20, and then the new one is $70 or $80. I think it's up there, so sorry. I think it's $79.99.
I can't remember what it is for a single person. I mean,
and that there was no compelling argument for that, right? And then,
I would say it's still not
individually, but
I mean, the Game Boy Advance helps.
And we did finally get the Game Pass family thing, and it was no benefit whatsoever. It's like, this doesn't help anybody.
Was it save like $5 a person or something?
It wasn't. It wasn't on the level of another one we may have all partaken in, recently mentioned. And Brant had me looking at so when Sony came out with their tiers, you've got the PlayStation Plus, PlayStation Extra, and Premium, right? We all did Premium. We were getting promised of PSP and PS2 and PS1 games. Like, man, we're going to get this rush of back catalog. Brant looked at it for like 6 months, and they added like 9 games that he wasn't, and he streamed one of them. He streamed Ape Escape. And he was like, you know what? I'm looking at this. We're getting maybe 1 or 2 a month. I'll be perfectly happy with this tier below that. And it was a great decision. I'm looking at it too. And my hot take was, why would Brant leave that? We all love retro games. We all love classic titles. We love PSP. How could he pick the one that doesn't have they're not supporting it. It's not there. He made the wise decision. And when mine is not paid off anymore, I still think I have like another year and a half to go. That might be the route I go. So we're able to look at these as the content comes and goes. And right now, Xbox is just a dearth of content. If you have another platform to play a bunch of these titles on, it looks worse. And especially the first party stuff. I need to look at the back. Remember the back of the Xbox Series X had like Master Chief on the back of it, and famously that didn't come out for another year. It's like Power Your Dreams or something. Mm-hmm. I want to see what else is, if it's just Master Chief or if there's anything else on there that's just been MIA since launch.
It's that, and people keep sitting in that fucking Blockbuster Game Pass advertisement that somebody keeps dropping in every Game Pass.
What is it about the Blockbuster summer thing they had?
No, it was like $14.99 rent any game you want. It was called Game Pass.
It was called Game Pass?
Yeah, just Google it real quick. It's called Game Pass. Blockbuster Game Pass. Somebody keeps dropping the ad in Twitter.
That's classic.
I was just laughing because it had like SOCOM on there, and it had like a whole bunch of different games.
My friend and I, another Southside NOFODcast fan, we had some sort of Blockbuster deal that was, $15 or $20 for a month for unlimited, just swapping them out. We tore up some N64 games, Dreamcast at that point, and early PS2 titles. I remember thinking, I guess this will segue us into the next one. But there was a Twitter thing that was like, when is the first time you thought game graphics would never get better than this? So it was a game you saw and you were like, this is the best game graphics we'll ever get. I'll never see this topped. For me, and this was my hot take answer, because this is when it hit me like that, was NBA Street. When we played NBA Street on his PS2, I was like, oh my god. It's like I'm watching a basketball game. It floored me. Did y'all have, I know it's kind of a quick rapid fire question here, but is there any that y'all saw that was just, and that could be a whole podcast episode or a side conversation.
Yeah, I don't remember. It was definitely something on PS2 that was like, I remember seeing it and being like, oh man, that's amazing. I don't know if, and I think everybody has that growing up. You're like, oh man, it's never going to get better than this. And then I remember seeing those, I think it was for NBA 2K on 360, those commercials that would air, and you'd see the beads of sweat coming down the players' faces and stuff, and you're like, that's the next generation, that's what's coming out, wow. And then every year it's been something more. And then we're to the point now where everything is about capped. I mean, you see some stuff and it's like, wow, that looks even better. But most of the time now they're just more focused on ray tracing and
You see the games in there?
No, I just saw Game Pass in the top corner. Cesar sent us the ad. Cesar, you need to send that. Well, I guess one of us can post it to the Instagram. That would be a pretty good post.
Yeah.
Game Pass, $14.99. I mean, there's still games that we'll play and it's like Ratchet and Clank. There's defining games where I play this and I'm like, I had to have a PS5 for this. It's nowhere close. And like Oblivion was that for 360, right? I played Oblivion and I was blown away. I was like, I've never played anything like this on a console. Metal Gear Solid was one of those games. Like, how is this coming out of this CD-ROM console? How am I getting this? Oh, somebody tell me about Concrete Genie. I know Cesar played this when it came out.
Sony is shutting down Pixel Opus. So in a tweet posted Friday, the California-based studio wrote, "Dear friends, our Pixel Opus adventure has come to an end. As we look to our new futures, we wanted to say a heartfelt thank you to the millions of passionate players who have supported us and our millions definitive games with heart. We are so grateful."
It's a kind statement
article,
for being shuttered.
The article goes on to say, of course they worked on Concrete Genie. They first launched the game Entwined.
I remember Entwined. The logo was like like a phoenix and a bird like spinning around each other. You remember that?
Okay. Yeah.
Because I didn't know what else they had worked on either until I read that, and I was like, I think I recognize the logo, but I don't know anything about the game. It seemed to have like a journey or
2014,
like a journey or flower or something like that, or flow. It seemed to have one of those sort of vibes to it. So I enjoyed this game, and there's they had an art book and everything. It was very distinct, and it's one of those. I've got it. I've been meaning to go back to some of these titles, and I'm starting to crave like Gravity Rush and Tearaway. Yeah. So those like PS4 exclusive titles that were, I don't know if we'll ever see another Tearaway. I would happily take another Tearaway or another Concrete Genie, but that doesn't seem likely.
Was 2019 for the studio. They were nominated for numerous awards, including 2 BAFTA Game Awards. And in 2021, they had a third game that was going to be developed for the PS5 in collaboration with Sony Pictures Animations.
It's not clear if this project is still active. I wonder if that went to somebody else. I know we didn't talk about this, but Dreams is shuttering at the end of this year. So I wonder what Media Molecule's got up their sleeve. What is Media Molecule anymore? Their founders aren't there anymore, so...
But that's the other thing is Sony's, they're shutting down studios that, when was that? Was that last year? Did they shut down Japan studios?
We're all just still bitter about Japan studio forever.
And then Pixel Opus didn't have many games, but I mean they were definitely different, more creative titles that they were coming out with, something that was a little bit different direction. And I don't know if Sony's just kind of trying to focus on more of that AAA experience or what's going on.
But we miss these, and that's what I think that's part of what your fear is with these live service games, is that it spreads that gap even further, that we just don't get these
it's
double
no
A B
creativity.
games.
It's going to be the same kind of cookie cutter stuff.
Yeah. And it's like the gap has widened to where we have live service or we have AAA games like a God of War or sure Halo Infinite, I guess straddle the line between both of those. And then you have an indie game, which could be a pixel art game or something. It's like there's such a breadth and there's so many titles that could fill that in between. Like Kena, Bridge of Spirits was one of those, and I think we all supported that one. And Stray, we all bought Stray.
They just had Chia.
Yep.
And I think Chia I just saw they reached a milestone. What was it, 1 million
That's good. That's good numbers for that.
download or something? Yeah.
Or do we know? Do we
it in
know? Does 1
passing.
million? Does it cut it for them? Does that get them where they need to be?
Because we saw that with Days Gone. They didn't get celebrated.
And that's a huge
hitting
Sony.
certain numbers.
It's a huge Sony studio. What are they working on? Do we know what Ben Studio's working on? Cesar?
You don't know what Ben's is working on.
No, then I mean something new. That's it. Because I remember they almost got absorbed into Naughty Dog.
And then I think about PlayStation is just as aggravating as Xbox regarding IPs sometimes, where it's just like, come on. Maybe even more so because I'm more tied to those franchises. Do something with Ape Escape. Do something with Sly Cooper. Jack and Daxter.
I don't know, man. I mean, they seem to be doing better with it because of what was it? Fanavision was the one.
That was a bizarre callback.
But see that Sony didn't publish that one. They gave that IP to an indie studio. So when it's on Steam, you saw that it's under license from use from Sony Computer Entertainment. It's not published by them. So they're getting better with just lending out some of their IPs and know they're not going to do anything with. So
almost like Konami, would you say? The new Konami?
Yep, the great indie
great
studio.
Celebrated indie studio Konami. Ultra Games, a subsidiary of Ultra Games.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, we hope everyone at Pixel Opus lands on their feet, and as part of a recent review process, it's been decided that Pixel Opus will close on June 2nd, so that's a pretty quick turnaround. So hopefully they land on their feet, and there's somewhere for them to go to. All right, Cesar, this story is yours and yours alone.
Sure, I'll read. I don't think I've seen anything on it other than. You know what? I saw that the pre-orders went up and I pre-ordered it.
That's all it took? Just the fact that the name was in there?
I mean, it seems like they're doing something similar like when Way Forward did their own Double Dragon. It was like an offshoot. It didn't take place in the main
Have
line.
you found another player to play the campaign with? I'll find a rando sucker.
Yeah, I mean,
as long as friendly fire's on, right?
That's the only way he plays.
Absolutely. This one's from Gamatsu from Sal Romano. Double Dragon Gaiden Rise of the Dragons announced for. There's a lot of dragons in there.
Rise of the
PS5,
Dragons.
Xbox Series, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PCs due out this summer. The last one was released was Double Dragon 4 from the new IP owners, which is Arc System Works. Looks like they licensed this out to Modius Games, who has been doing a lot of IP stuff because I think they came out with the Caveman Joe thing, which they still left on the very beginning where the caveman beat the women and take them out by the hair, which was cut in the Genesis 1, but they left it on the PS5 version. But neither here and there. Because when I played it, I was like, ooh, they left this in here. That's
holy crap.
It's a weird take. But it's neither here or there. Double Dragon Gaiden Rise of the Dragons is God. I'm just gonna call it Double Dragon DDG. There we go. It's too much. It's too much. It's cooperative beat 'em up featuring tag team duels of fighters that fuse roguelike elements to deliver classically informed, high replayable Double Dragon style brawls with new edge that revitalize the iconic franchise. Classic New York City year 1990X. And it goes into details about the storyline, which we don't really need to know because it's just like cookie cutter 1990s action film, nuclear war, survival, crime, streets. Yeah, you get the idea. Series icons Billy and Jimmy Lee are joined by Marion returning as a fully realized firearm-wielding range fighter. Sure. And a newcomer, Uncle Matten. And a right shield-wielding powerhouse. I guess you got to have a balance in here. I'm not gonna read all this shit. I'm just looking at it. It looks weird.
Hey, you pre-ordered it. You voted with your wallet.
Yeah, that was one thing I did see. There were some people kind of divided on the art style.
It looks like those weird $5 Switch games with like where you have to play like a baseball story or soccer story where like you're doing like these weird. That's what it looks like. I don't know. It's a weird aesthetic, put it that way. I mean, I'll be more interested in see how it plays. If it plays like a Double Dragon game, then I'll be fine with it. It's like weird bastard version of Metal Slug. Some of these screens.
Is that what they're going for? Or are they like, all right, we're gonna retread all these years of Double Dragon and make it more Metal Slug-esque?
I don't know, man. I think I pre-ordered for like $29 or $30.
Like, I'm jumping. It doesn't matter. It's Double Dragon.
I mean, when I saw it go up, I was like, yeah, sure.
I think that art style actually looks really cool, but I'm not gonna do Lucy in the football as the football gets yanked away from me as I go to kick it. I kid. It's always fun playing Double Dragon with Cesar. It's just a big bit.
I'm sure this will probably end up on Game Pass at some point. So
it might.
I'm sure it's gonna be on the Xbox showcase if they got it day one. So.
Oh no! You're just gonna throw fuel on Renee's fire. This is what I was talking about. We get Double Dragon.
I mean, there's a fucking Netflix service, man. They're just out there buying weird shit to put on there day one. So
weird shit.
We don't have any games from our first party studios, so we're just gonna put random shit in here.
Soon Netflix will have their own games. So
yeah, freaking Joseph Staten left Halo and is at Netflix games now.
I mean, Netflix is looking how long until Microsoft doesn't get shit done. They might actually have a chance to get caught up and beat their ass. So.
Time will tell. What is everyone's Game Pass dollars getting them this month?
Only the best of the best, including Redfall.
Redfall, which I legit am waiting for Cesar's take on this because I want to hear what my friend says.
And I look at this game. This game looks like Georgia, FUGA.
Fuga?
FUGA.
To the best of the best,
sir.
Or FUGA, University of Georgia. FUGA.
Y'all want to bear down on this?
Ravenlock.
Yeah, go ahead, Brant.
May 4th, which, let's see, already...
Ravenlock's cool with the little puppet /
I do like this
thing.
art style. Cool. That looks great. Is that only for this platform?
Cloud console PC. I think it's
okay. Maybe they should be hyping this one then. This is the Puppeteer, maybe, of... I know that's high praise, but...
Back again on that Japan Studios thing, right?
Yeah, you just put it in my brain.
Weird West Definitive Edition for the series consoles, May 8th. Shadowrun Trilogy, May 9th. Fuga, Melodies of Steel, Cloud Console PC, that's May 11th. In case you missed it, Besieged, Cloud Console PC, also available now, as well as Quantum Break. I know that left the service and came back.
Oh, there's Fuga. I get it now.
There we go.
It took a second. Yeah, I had no clue. I was like, this is a callback to something I don't get. Fuck you, Georgia.
Yeah, FUGA.
Why do we get fuck you, Georgia? FUGA.
Fuck you, University of Georgia. That works too.
Yeah. FUGA. That's it. My bad.
You gotta pronounce. You gotta do it. I mean, you can. There's two ways you can say fuck Georgia in there. You can fuck Georgia. Or you can say fuck the University of Georgia. That's two ways you can go.
F-UGA.
Yeah. The whole house.
No.
And then as of May 15th, we wrap this up with the Leaving Game Pass. Before we leave Cloud Console and PC, Danganronpa 2, Goodbye Despair, Anniversary Edition, Cloud Console and PC, Hearts of Iron, 4 for PC, First Story, PC, and Umurangi Generations Special Edition, Cloud Console and PC.
I don't know what that one is.
I'm not sure myself.
I'm glad Quantum Break is back. People are talking about that right as the actor passed away.
That was...
And it was like... But it was a licensing thing. They said it was going to come out. It was Louis Riddick.
Mm-hmm.
It was very strange. The timing was just coincidental, but It was very strange. I think it was a licensing thing, but that's Microsoft's. Do they still have that? Cesar, do you remember how that broke down? I know you loved Quantum Break when it came out. That was one of your... Yeah, that big Xbox thing that went on. Quantum Break was one of them. Cesar was all in that show. Like, we watched that E3 together. That was it.
I mean,
it's Remedy's your jam.
I'm day one for Remedy, yeah. I mean, I was day one for Remedy when I bought Max Payne. That was the first Remedy game I ever bought. I bought it for launch day.
Remedy for life since Max Payne. Somebody put up an article. I wish I could say it was Kotaku or somebody, and they were talking about games of 2003, and it had like KOTOR and maybe Metroid Prime 2 was that year. And then it had a Max Payne, and it was a screenshot from each game, right? And they're talking about best games of 2003. And the Max Payne image that they had was some sort of mod over Max Payne. That was not his face in Max Payne. I was like, I'm looking at this thing, and it was a double take. Like, no, you're not fooling me. That facial animation was not there for that game in 2003. It did not exist. You are not fooling me. Oh. All right, we're gonna segue to games played.
Yep, on to games played.
Cesar, you want to start us off with Redfall?
Yeah, like I said earlier, I don't know if we recorded or not. I had with this PC, I had that fucking redeem 1 month of Game Pass, and since my Game Pass finally went out, because it would never stack. It was like you can't be a current subscriber.
Almost like the cell phone things. They don't they don't let you have the good benefit on top of you already being a subscriber. It's like just for new people.
Yeah, so I was like, every time I turn on the fucking PC, it prompted me, and I was like, you know what, fuck it. I went ahead and just redeemed it, and I got like 30 days, and then I went ahead and I think that was the exact night that Redfall came out, because there's like Redfall's available, and I went ahead and downloaded it. It was like 30 gigs, so it took like 4 minutes to download and install. And I literally booted it up. I think I put an hour into it. It went into this weird character creation where you kind of choose your character and class, which I don't think I got that far to even figure out what they do with it. And then you proceed as the main character to wake up on this boat with this female Dracula looking,
because it's very vampire
hunt you down,
right? Did you pick one of the classes, or did it assign you one, or did you just have like a vanilla one?
You pick one. Okay. It's like character creation. Yeah, it's like character creation. You can choose a class or I don't even remember which class I chose. I got to boot it up, man. I literally didn't. I couldn't get into it.
Apparently, it doesn't matter. They all play exactly the same.
I mean, I don't know, man. He throws out a raven, and he like it flocks to like whatever vampiric thing is in the room, and I can never get it to pull shit off. So I was like, I don't know, man. I like I said, I didn't really play that long to it, because I think he literally, you wake up on the boat. This female vampire character is trying to hunt you down, and she gets chased away from like the sun, and then you
her son
are in the middle of a lake with the
celestial body.
Kaze. Yeah. I got 3 different ways I can name the sun in Japanese, but it's the sun. Taiyo. Whichever one you want to pick. So you're in this lake with the water kind of just floating up, and it's just sitting there, and you can't leave this island. So it's like, as soon as you get on the island, you pick up random weapons to go through, and you run into these people who are like trying to use the chaos from these vampires to take over the island and kill as many people as they can. So you got to hunt them down, and then you run into you're supposed to go into the fire station, and then that's where you get your first vampire battle. He's in the basement, and then you rescue the people there, and you build up a base, like it's a home base. I literally stopped playing after that. It was probably like the first hour. Graphically, it looks like a older version of Dishonored. It looks like Dishonored on PS3, but it looks worse.
Wow.
It doesn't look as detailed. I don't know. I mean, I had everything on max because I played it on PC. I had everything maxed out. I don't know. I don't know. At least I don't know. It looks like that's the worst I can try. It plays like Dishonored. It looks like Dishonored, but it just doesn't look as good. It's the art style is weird. It's just, I don't know. It's like it feels like an older game. I mean, I don't know, man. I literally played 1 hour of it and I couldn't get through it. So I don't know if I have anything positive to say about the game other than you go and you loot and you shoot and you kill. And the story is pretty generic. You're just trying to survive in that town. So I don't know if it evolves into anything. Because I didn't play that long. I've literally played an hour of it. So I don't know if I'm qualified to sit there and shit on it. But I mean, it just wasn't for me. I can put it that way.
And reviews have said.
And I love Arcane. I love
single players the way to go.
Studios. Yeah, I love Arcane Studios, man. I love them. I played Dishonored. I played the shitty version of Dishonored on PS3. Where it took every time I walk into a room, it's fucking loading. It's like the Half-Life 2 on PS3
or Xbox.
Like if I go backwards, I'm loading again. I'm like, fuck, I've been meaning to go.
Or
backwards.
Half-Life on Dreamcast.
But
oh god.
Yeah. So I mean, and I love Dishonored. I love everything from Arcane. Like Deathloop.
Was this a B studio?
This is the first one from Arcane Austin, which I think was recently formed right after Prey or right around Prey, because I think they helped with Prey or something like that.
I'm not gonna not B studio. I'm not gonna say any one is less than another, but just like subsidiaries open. Like after BioShock, you had 2K, Marin, and all these other like subsidiaries that would co-develop stuff. So that's all I was asking.
Yeah, and a lot of those are. I don't know if they're still around because 2K Marin was Australia. I don't even think they make any games anymore. We had 2K Shanghai. There's a whole bunch of them.
It's like EA. EA Studios vanished.
And then they went and bought that damn RBA baseball game, and then they're making baseball games again. But which I looked on the other day, like EA Sports RBA baseball. I was like, what? And I looked it up, and they bought them in 2021.
EA has the RBI baseball series now.
They bought
this
them
was
in 2021. Yeah, it says EA Sports on the game.
What I was not expecting from tonight's podcast.
Yeah. I had to go down the fucking rabbit hole because I was like, wait, EA's making baseball games again? And I went in there and looked at, it's because they bought that studio in 2021 and they own all the RB.
So I thought it was crazy because I'm considering, like I do every season, buying the roster update for MVP 05 for the original Xbox or PS2, buying that roster update and playing with this year's rosters. There are people who did that for RBI baseball for the NES. They will get a roster update for that as a ROM hack. It's like, whoa, you are really hooked on your 30-plus-year-old baseball game at this point. Dedication.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, so like I said, I literally only played an hour of it. It's still sitting on my hard drive. I got, I don't know, like 22 days to finish playing this. I don't think I will, maybe. I don't know, man. It doesn't interest me. I mean, if y'all want to fuck around with it, we can.
I don't have a way to play it currently. I would have to re-up with a certain subscription to try it out.
That sounds horrible.
I mean, I've always paid less than market value for said subscription, so if it just happened to be
it's not worth it to play this game. I can send you a video that shows you fun shenanigans. I don't think it would.
I've been talking games with Cesar for almost 20 years, so if he says this is his take, I'm not going to be very far off from his enjoyment.
Look, man, I like a lot of games that a lot of people don't like. This is just not it for me. I find it weird that a lot of people are like, "Oh, the jank's good and shit." This is what I like in my games. I'm like, I'm on this kind of a stretch.
But it's not funny stuff like we're laughing about in Skyrim, right? Where the people are dropping from the roof. Like it's not that.
I mean, there's literally funny jank. Like when I play Grand Theft Auto 4, there's some funny ass jank moments in there. Like it's funny to me because the game gets locked up in there, and then I was like, but there's nothing. It's just some of the jank in there is bullshit. Like that, somebody goes up and down the ladder, and I'm sitting there and I shoot 85 bullets until they're surviving. Yeah. I'm like, I don't get it, and it's like they're stuck in that whole animation and they're immortal.
So it's broken. They're not just bullet sponges.
I think some of it is just where the enemies load at sometimes. I think there's certain areas it just doesn't calculate properly. So, I mean, it's one of those games that they knew they're going to have to fix up, and that's like now games nowadays are all like that mostly. Yeah. They release it to a certain point where it's broken to an extent, and they just fix it as they go through.
So what's compelling about being there for Redfall day one when 6 weeks later you may have a more compelling experience than it's almost guaranteed, right? At this point, you're gonna have a better. Somebody put up a thread of all the apology letters of like, oh, we're sorry this is performing this way on this platform. It's like it's an automatic release on the PR cycle with whatever game you're coming out with. Renee's in the chat. He said, how's the AI in the game? And you answered a little bit of that, but
they're dumb. It depends on what difficulty. I think it's better to play it on the hardest difficulty. Because I mean, when I played it on normal, I was like, this is too easy. I mean, they're just kind of dancing around and everything. So I don't know, man. I've really played less than an hour. I just couldn't. It wasn't for me. I tried it. I was like, I love Arcane Studios, man. I really do, but this is not for me. Maybe depending how much they fix it up, I still believe deep down in my heart they're going to fucking release this on other platforms after a couple more years. Hopefully, it'll be a better game by then. So,
is there franchise potential? Because I think you above even the two of us will appreciate some sort of story or lore. I mean, we kid you about being the lore master in the preamble, but like, is there anything there? Is there any universe building? Is there something that
I don't think I've gotten far enough in there to even.
You kind of described Vampire Diaries, the CW show.
It kind of looks like that too. It looks like a CW game. So whatever the version of that would be.
Oh, so the TV tie-in.
It's kind of like it's not good enough to be on NBC, but it's good enough to be on CW. That quality of a TV show. So, it's a game that's marketed as AAA that I feel is like AA.
But not in the good way. I mean, from what I'm hearing, it diminishes the effort and polish and.
I mean, Atomic Heart was a AA game, and that. Because there's moments in there where it looks really fucking good, and there's some moments in there that's pixelated as fuck. I mean, but it plays like BioShock, which is comforting.
And it had more heart. So, than it's like, it seems like it's behind this. It seems like a soul. It seems like a soulless.
I don't know. We'll see. I mean, can't really judge the story, but I mean, it's basic. I mean, you don't know what you got to rid this town of vampires. That's what it is. I mean, you get this whole little sizzle reel in the beginning where like they find this girl who. They're trying to help her, and they ended up just harvesting her blood out of her, and that's how these vampires are created. So, like, that's pretty much how it is, because they were supposed to cure her for something, and then they start infecting everybody in this town. So, I mean, it's like a sizzle roll. Like, it just shows like multiple screens, like you're watching a video. There's no character models. There's no growth to get attached to anybody. There's no names to the girls.
There's no weight. There's no weight behind investing in any of the scenarios.
That's why I said I'm surprised people said the story, like the single player is a way to go, because it's like really marketed like on the co-op aspect. Like this is kind of like the sides. Fucking Left 4 Dead had more story in it, and that was like a co-op game.
Yeah, all of the lead up and everything that I watched was like, okay, you're probably gonna want to be the shotgun class or tank class or whatever it is, and like, okay, Cesar's gonna enjoy this, and he's gonna ask me to be the healer, or like Brant be the bow person, or like there will be these. Attributes that'll be fun to play through this with different classes. Nothing
yet. I don't know. There's a lot of shit that's coming out right now, man. I don't know if I'm going to go back to it. So I've only got like 30 days left. So it's only like a free trial.
There's too many good games out there.
Yeah, I mean, we got. I mean, a big game from Nintendo coming out in 4 days. So I mean,
can't wait to have that in my hands, because I don't know anyone else that's even. Like seeing it running.
I'm trying to. I don't know. I'm about to mute everybody, but I'm trying to think of anything else at the end of the month. I don't think there's anything else at the end of this month, right? This is like we're just coasting into Zelda and riding outside of the FUGA coming out later.
What did I have? So I looked at the calendar not too long ago, and my only guarantees. I'm very excited about the summer games, whatever this has turned into, the Keyleys and all that. Yes, Key 3. Are we going to go with Key 3? Are we just going to make it Key 3? I'm fine with that.
Jeff Grubb put on there, and I was like, Key 3 is
but he's like,
funny and pretty
Jeff
good.
Grubb is also like co-doing his own thing with his games mess thing, so but he doesn't have the...
But he's
done that every year, more of the journalist side, where Keeley started. Keeley's more in the production bit of it now. Sure, Key 3. When Key 3 starts... I'm very excited about that, but all I really have, I'm enjoying my back catalog on Steam Deck, and I'm enjoying Warzone. If I have free time, I'm playing Steam Deck or I'm playing Warzone. Zelda's coming up, and I think my next day one is Final Fantasy 16. And I think you guys are in the same boat.
Here, yeah.
Oh, Brant's on the...
Yeah.
Brant's nodding.
I think I bought the Best Buy version, so I have like 85 steelbooks coming at me now.
I mean, so. I don't have any, so if you have
with
a spare
the
steel
collector's edition,
let me know.
I'll keep a
Steel
lookout
City.
for it.
Tell me about GTA 4. You sent me a sale link, and I didn't jump on it, and it's not on sale.
Because I talked to you and I was like, GTA 4 randomly was on sale and I saw it and I was like, man, I never beat this game. And I'm at this kick right now on playing like on Steam and Steam Deck. I like all these old PS3 games like that, Deus Ex and Lord of the Shadow, which I never played back in the day.
I have that. I've been wanting to fire that one up. How does that play?
It plays really good on Steam Deck, very, very good. So if you haven't beaten it, it's an easy way to play because I've been laying in bed and playing like maybe an hour or two. And I'm chugging along.
I heard it's a good game. You have to like suspend the whole Metroidvania part of Castlevania, but they said it's a great game. It's a Fox Engine title.
Yeah, I wish they patched out all the Kojima stuff out. They patched his name out of there. That was one
Seriously?
of the games, patched everything his name out and everything. Yeah, there's nothing with Kojima in there anymore. Yeah. My PS3 copy still has the Kojima Productions a logo on there, but on the PC it's completely gone.
We're the worst industry with stuff like that. Like that doesn't happen to film, music. We're literally the worst.
Yeah. He didn't do the second one.
Oh, you saw me grab. Yeah, but that was the closest one to me. The first one's way the fuck back there.
Yeah, it's like your days gone of
Oh, it's not that far back because that's the part of the shelf that fell out. This is the game Cesar's playing for our video listeners.
Yeah.
Yep, look at him, Kojima Productions with the freaking Foxhound logo and everything.
It's completely gone on the Steam version. Completely patched out.
What do you mean, Cesar? How are you playing on this on Steam? It's 2 discs on Xbox 360.
I think it's only like 10 gigs on Steam Deck.
Really?
Now
that's even more compelling.
On here. Is it really 2 decks?
Oh, the guide is not in color. Do you remember when you get a guide and it was usually like the platinum hits or something, the greatest hits, and you're like, fuck, they cut cost here.
It's like that. You ever see those photos online where they end up drawing like the horse, you get the magnificent horse. It's like the early generation, and you get the bullshit horse at the end. That's the black and white, and then you get no book. So we're at the bullshit horse now, where it's like you're just lazy.
And then I think I have English, French, and Spanish. So I have Controles de Huejo in here, and it's still black and white. I can't even read it in Spanish. It's black and white still.
Yeah, it's fucking 15 gigs, man, on Steam.
All right, let's see what the 360 install was. All right, you needed 4 megs to save the game. 4 megabytes saved.
It's ridiculous.
I don't know what the install is. This was before they started putting that on there.
On the back, yeah. All right, before I go to GTA, I've been playing Lords of Shadow. I think I've gotten to the part I've always stopped on PS3, which is the beginning of Chapter 2. After he meets the character, was Zyback, which was voiced by Patrick Stewart, which looks like Sean Connery, because I guess if Sean Connery was still doing games at the time, they would have got him to voice it.
Was Sean Connery doing anything
he's like
at this time? He was 100%
retired
after the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, right? Yeah.
Yep. Gentlemen, yeah. So I feel like that's the role they would have gave it to, because like every time I hear Patrick Stewart talking, it's like, that's Patrick Stewart, but when I look at it, it looks like Sean Connery. But it's like a borderline, like if you ever see Highlander, it's like Highlander.
I mean, Patrick Stewart's hot off of Oblivion as well at that point. Maybe a year, maybe 2 years.
I mean, Patrick Stewart does everything, man. He's like on American Dad and all that stuff. He does a lot of voiceover work. But he plays himself on American Dad, which is awesome. But
wait.
Yeah, so
he's become, because William Shatner eventually just became like William Shatner, right? Like he's his own character. So I guess all Star Trek captains end up you either live long enough to die or become a caricature of your own self. So I guess Jean-Luc Picard is his own character at this point.
Basically. So I think at that point where you start out as Gabriel Belmont, and he's going through, and he's been tasked by the church to figure out why the people who've died can't enter heaven anymore.
What is the church for therefore? Please answer me this.
I don't know, which is funny because the church sends them to the old gods, which is the pagan gods, to figure out why. So it's like,
where's this going? I want to play this game.
So you run into like that looks like that monster from Pan's Labyrinth. He's like which I think is based off that monster, like not a monster but the god out there. So he's gives a way to communicate with the dead in the dreams. So Gabriel talks to his dead wife who has died and can't pass over. So he's like his dead wife, where he has to sit there and torment talking to her all the fucking time. is the one that's leading him on how to open the gateway to heaven. So when he meets Zabak, which is kind of like an older version in that order, he decides like, okay, we're going to do this, and we're going to go to all the evil lands or whatever it's called. Like, so he's going to go to the land of the Lycans, and Zabak, I think, is going to the land of the vampires, and they're trying to find a way to. They're looking for like this key to open the way. So like that's how the story starts out. So I think now I'm in the land of the Lycans right now. So I'm making my way through there, and I think it's chapter 2. I think it's like 16 chapters or something like that. And it's like it looks pretty good on Steam Deck. It looks like a high res version of a PS3 360 game. And it's like you mentioned before. It's not the old Castlevania style. It's kind of like a fixed area one, but it has a bit of secrets in there. So you got to find like magic gems, life gems to give you upgrades, scrolls to give you more story background on some of these Crusader-like characters who perish in these areas, and it tells you like what they were doing there and how they died and whatnot. So, there's different times where you get different abilities, so they expect you to come back sometimes to those to those levels to get everything. So, like to get 100% in a level is like you have to go through and beat every fucking difficulty.
No,
I'm not doing all that shit. So I mean, but that's like I don't know, man.
I'm waiting for the part. We've all played games for a long time, right? You went this way, and this guy went to go handle this one this way. You're gonna hear from him like, it didn't go so well over here in Vampire. He went on the Vampire side.
He went to the
Vampire
man,
you gotta
side,
come over. It's not going so hot. Did you? Oh, you beat that boss? Yeah, come on. It's not going well over here.
Yeah.
I'm trapped. You're gonna have to.
It's like every 90s movie, man. Yeah, it's like the other guy goes the other way. Man, you can't do shit right, man. It's like, after you destroy your area, come save my ass. You know, I didn't even get that far. Like, whatever, man. So that's as far as I got on that one. Like I said, this one I've actually been bouncing back and forth on PC and Steam Deck. The cloud saves work pretty well.
It's a Kojima production.
It is. They patched his name out. They patched out the transferring name. It's just called Cloud Saves now.
What is his legacy at this point?
I mean, he restarted Kojima Productions again.
As Ludens.
I laugh because, like, can he do that? It's like, he owns his fucking name. they thought Konami owned his name. But, you can't do that. We own that name.
No Kojima. You can't be a Kojima.
Can't start a Kojima studio. That's not how it works.
Conflict of the Kojimas.
Yeah. Kojima.
Kojima-verse.
Kojima interest. Kojima multiverse. Outside of that, like you mentioned before, I have been playing Grand Theft Auto 4, which I don't know, might be played better on console because there is some janky stuff in there even more so than it is on console. So it's like I think some of that game engine runs a little weird on there because it was a games for Windows type thing, and I think they ported it off of it.
Yeah.
So it's like now it's like when you launch it on Steam Deck, you have to create a fucking Rockstar account. And then sync your Rockstar Live account to it before you can even play the game. It won't let you play the game until then.
Right.
After that, it won't.
And that probably makes it playable instead of verified. So stuff like this, Brant, yeah. Like, what was I playing? Jedi Fallen Order. I've not been able to play it offline. I've had to be on internet for it to, and I guess that makes it playable instead of verified. It has that EA launcher that you can get past pretty easy, kind of like the Rockstar one, but. That DRM is no joke.
I mean, the Rockstar one's literally it's just setting up. It's just for the cloud save shit. It's oh man, I don't think I've tried to play it offline, so I don't know if I would run into that issue.
Is Red Dead Redemption 2 the same way? Because I know that's verified. How does that fire up?
I think it is also that Rockstar Social. I think it's what's called Rockstar Social. Yeah.
Yeah, because remember they had their own launcher.
I mean, even that Grand Theft Auto trilogy is on there now. Yeah. I think they're getting to that part where they said fuck their launcher and they put everything back on Steam, kind of like Ubisoft and
everyone
EA now. Because remember they're like, oh fuck you Steam, we're gonna do our own launchers, and now everybody's kind of like just circling back to putting their games back on Steam again. Because like now we're getting like Assassin's Creed Unity's just came out on Steam after 10 fucking years, which is funny to me. But I mean, you plays was it Nico Bellic, who fresh off the boat of. I don't remember what country
it's an Eastern European country.
Europe. I'm just going to go with Eastern Europe. Mm-hmm.
Roman, my cousin Roman. That's my only take from GTA 4. Basically, I want my bird from Iron Man 2. That's all I remember. He called you all the time.
All he heard from his cousin Roman's fast cars, mansions, and threesomes every night.
Iron Man 2.
So that's all he in his letters. Yep. So I mean, as soon as you get off the boat, you meet over Roman, and you find out like everything he says is a fucking lie. So I mean, he doesn't have a mansion, he doesn't have multiple women, right. He only has one girlfriend, and he doesn't have the cars. He doesn't
because the compelling story behind this one was like all the other protagonists in the series had been American, and like they're trying to hustle their way through the American dream, and this was someone who was not, and they were promised like right off the rip. They were promised by the cousin. I remember so much from this, and it came out a long time ago. Everybody at the job was playing it at the time.
It's pretty good. I've never gotten that far. I think I'm close to the end now. I'm getting to the part now where it's like some of the missions are bullshit. But yeah, I mean, as you go through it, Nico's just trying to like find his way into. I mean, Roman is trying to sell him on the American dream. He's not really there for that. So he's not really interested on it. He's like, I ran away from something. That's why I'm here. Really, that's why he took the opportunity to come to Liberty City in America. Is because he needed to get away. He's not because he's trying to live the American dream. Yeah. Roman's always trying to sell it to him. And that's how it kind of gets to start. And so as you go through, he doesn't really open up until some point where they run into Vlad, who they started getting into trouble, and then they start getting pulled into like this gangster terrorism type lifestyle.
Not in a Grand Theft Auto.
So they end up running into this guy who's crazy. Yeah, they ran into this crazy guy called Vlad, and I mean, they ended up having to kill Vlad because Vlad was going to kill Roman and his cousin and all that. And so from that point, he opens up that basically he was after the war in Eastern Europe. He was on a mission to he worked for some guys like a general where he was basically selling people in slavery and stuff like that. And he ended up having to go do a mission in Italy, and they got betrayed. And so all of them died. There's like 15 of them. All of them died, but 3 of them. And he knows he's not the one who sold them out, so he's looking for the other 2, and one of those other 2 are in Liberty City, and that's why he came to Liberty City. He's trying to find that guy, get his revenge.
The other rats.
And so that's the whole reason why he's there. Yeah. And as you go through, Vlad and he had like Dimitri and all that, you end up getting betrayed again, like any other Grand Theft Auto multiple times, and then you find out that the general, who the guy he was running away from, that said he owed him a whole bunch of money because of that failed heist that they were supposed to be doing. Is there, and he's trying to kill Nico now. So now he ends up burning like his cousin's house, his cab depot, and destroys everything his cousin worked for because his cousin was pissed. He said it might have been shit. I lied a lot, but it took me 10 years. And he's like, I bought my first cab. I slept in that building under the desk. I didn't even have an apartment, and now it's all gone. And so Nico's like, all right, don't worry. I'm going to get back on this. Because Roman's the one that's trying to be like the angel type thing. He's like, no, let's just get out of here. Let's just run and hide. And Nico's like, no, I'm going to finish this. I'm going to take this general guy out. I'm going to find out who sold me out. And so as you go through all these confidants that you do these missions for, it leads you closer into trying to figure out who sold him out and him getting his revenge on this general who says he owes him money, but he never did. So it's like
a revenge tale.
That's pretty much the storyline.
I mean, I know you're a fan of heist tales, but I think revenge is up there too. Yeah,
revenge is good. Yeah, I mean,
like,
there's never really heist.
Count in Monte Cristo style.
Mm-hmm. So outside of that, it plays fine on PC. I mean, it doesn't look great. I mean, it looks great for the age it came out on there. It probably looks better on like a standard TV because that's what it's designed for. Because I mean, if you ever see game design on PC versus a television, PC, like game console games, the graphically they're detailed enough where you're supposed to sit far away from the TV and it looks good. PC is an opposite. PC is detailed enough where you're supposed to look closely to it and it looks good. Though you have these weird games that are developed on console centric and then ported over the PC, sometimes are not done well. So it's one of those situations where I think it looks better playing on a console than it does on a TV. It does look good on the smaller resolution on the Steam Deck. That's probably the way to go. But like going back and forth for me on PC and Steam Deck, I think Steam Deck's the better way to look.
And
on there.
That used to be the difference between like standard definition and high definition, essentially. Mm-hmm. That's interesting.
Yeah, I think that 720p standpoint.
So how would it look on a CRT? One wonders. Should one have a copy of this game on
probably
PS3 and component cable send a CRT? I wonder if it supports full screen. It came out in the time that it should have, right?
Yeah, I think it does, because I think when I cycle through there, it has 4x3, 16x9, 16x10 on my... Yeah, excellent. So it does do 4x3. So, yeah, so, I mean, outside of that, on PC, there's the jank still there. So like, there's moments where I'm laughing because there's like 4 people walking into each other in the street, like, eating the same thing, but there's like 4 people just humping each other.
Was it Charlie's grandparents?
Missions where I am. I was missions where like we're on the rooftop and like we gotta get away, and then like the guy who's running with me is stuck in the stairs, and I'm like, all right, dude. He's like, don't leave me, and I'm like, I have to go out there and I have to like kind of like push him to get unstuck, and then he's like, oh, okay, and he starts running down the stairs. So there's a lot of that jank in there too. That or I'm just walking around and I see a car just randomly running people down or hitting the pole, and I'm like, what the fuck's happening over here? And I was like, I had nothing to do with it. It's like just. It's like I guess I don't know if I would say it's an accurate thing of New York, but which is the game's based off of. But I mean, there's janky stuff in there that's funny. There's Redfall janky stuff is not funny. It's just irritating. I'm getting close to the end because now I'm at the point where almost all the weapons are unlocked, and it's putting me in bullshit situations. Now I have like 2 confidants that are fighting each other, and it's like, all right, get my coke. And I went in there and I shoot. This is the mission I'm on. It's pissing me off because I've been doing it for like the last 2 hours. It's like I got to go into this abandoned hospital and murder everybody from the Lost in the Dam in there, who has their own expansion, and who also the leader also shows up in Grand Theft Auto 5, but that's another story.
I didn't know they had a connection.
Yeah. He was supposedly a badass in this game, but then he's a loser.
Is this the one with the Ballad of Gay Tony? Is this one of the expansions? Okay.
Yeah.
Is that automatically?
Yeah. Lost in the Dam and Ballad of Gay Tony are both on.
Is that automatically there?
When you go up to the menu, you have the left hand is separated. Okay. The left hand side is the regular game, and then the right hand side is the episodes of. I
don't want to derail you, but I'm playing Skyrim Special Edition, which comes with like Dawn Guard and Hearthfire and Dragonborn. I think are the 3 expansions, and they're delivered via. Somebody runs up and brings me a letter, and it's like, go to this ship on this part of the island, and I know that's the expansion, or. You should go meet up with this group of people. They're called the Dawn Guard. They're after vampires. I'm like, okay, that's going to start that whole like expansion quest. Yeah, like it's a whole separate thing, but they integrated it into the game. It's just kind of awkward, kind of how it delivers. So I wondered how GTA 4 did that.
It's not like a Final Fantasy 14 where I'm Marcus Brody where I get lost in my museum. I'm over here going to different lands. I'm like, I don't know what to do now. I was like, I'm trying to find the story, and the story can't find me. Like,
everybody loves the story. It won't find its way to me.
I'm walking around like, where's the fucking story? To see people dancing around. It's like, I don't get it. And it's like, and I was like, go meet this guy. And it's like across another fucking continent. So I'm over here riding on the fucking ship for like 3 hours.
That's MMOs. You just summarized all MMOs I've ever played.
Yeah. I mean, I basically had to find somebody like, oh, go over here, oh, go over there, and then just ruin the game for me. So I'm like, that balance of trying to like.
I don't have time for this. Yeah,
fuck MMOs. Yeah. Well, I'm skipping the MMO thing. But so I'm on this mission now. So I wipe everybody up in the building, and then they have every fucking police vehicle in and the world just flying over there like a helicopter, and it's like, all right, now I got to shoot my way out with the police, and like I can never get out there. I was like, I thought I was smart. Like before we started recording, I thought I was good. I was like, all right. I walked around the building. I planned ahead, and I was like, all right, I can get over here, get in the water, and I'll be good. Jump in the water. The fucking boat wouldn't let me in, and I started swimming. And the swimming in GTA is not like swimming in Modern Warfare. You always die in the water. Because I literally they keep gunning me down there no matter where I go.
Swimming in Modern Warfare. Actually, that's Brant's MO. We live in the water.
Yeah. Modern Warfare, I feel like I have a better chance. Like this, I have no chance. I'm Michael like, Phelps. It's literally, there's like, I try, man. There's like there's like Miami Vice boats coming at me. There's like 4 of them. I'm like, dude, there's only one guy. I was like, I only have 3 stars. How's there 4 boats in the water? And then the helicopter shoot down in there. So I'm like, it's like overkill. So I was like, I'm at this part, and then I have to do the whole mission all over again, where I got to go in there and murder everybody in there, steal the drugs back, and then figure a way out by killing all these cops.
Just don't take the drugs.
Like,
this is what the game's trying to tell you. This is a Nancy Reagan plant.
I could maybe just do other missions, and maybe because I mean I think this is the game where they finally started where like you can like you don't have to do everything. Yeah. So like if there's people who give you missions, you don't have to do it for them, and they can just die. So like if you want to get like the best ending, quotations around best ending. It's like you try to bring everybody alive with you, outside of the Dimitri in general.
But I mean, this is 2023. You can just look those up on YouTube if you wanted to, and make it to whatever ending.
I don't know, man. I think there's a cheat menu. I'm debating whether I'm just gonna turn on cheats and just get through this part, so I can fucking get done. Because I'm literally right towards the end of this game, man. I'm like, I've got to all 5 fucking boroughs. I'm like, I'm almost there. I'm only like. I've only put like 14 hours into it. It's not that long.
Does this feel like? And I remember when this came out, it was like an HDified version of the previous 3, but they added much more realism, and then they scaled back a bunch of systems. So almost like you were talking about, somebody was talking about the sports games of like NFL 2K of that generation. Famously, Madden 06 for the 360 when it came out was way worse for 360 than it was for any of the other, GameCube, Xbox, PS2. It had way less features. It didn't have the truck stick or whatever the new like defensive thing they added that year was. So it looked better, but that was not the definitive version of Madden that year. And I think like looking back, it was more of a segue GTA. But like, do you feel any of those systems are scaled back from San Andreas or like Turf Wars or? I know it added as much as it subtracted, so it's sort of like a give and take thing, and it ended up being a segue onto greater things.
I mean, there was none of that bits where you had in San Andreas where you can do like the body lifting, the cosmetic stuff. Like CJ would come up there like, "So no, there was warm coffee."
Really, they embraced the hot coffee.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, it's like nonstop. Like, oh, do we hear? I'm sitting here like, oh my god, I had to sit there and turn the volume down on the TV, but on the PC.
Renee's beating on your wall.
I was like,
Renee's
I can't be playing GTA 4. Yeah, I'm sitting over there in Walmart playing my Steam Deck as I hear the moaning coming from her. Yeah. Oh my bad, everybody. It's just a bit. It'll pass over.
It's fine.
Everybody's chill.
She's just refilling my health. It's okay. That's what happens here.
Yep. You don't see anything, but you just hear everything. So. It's
like the God of War minigames. Did you play God of War? You remember the whole? Yeah.
I mean, those were a little bit more graphic, but
visceral.
But yeah, I mean, you don't have all those little weird cosmetic things on there. You don't have the variety where you can ride a bicycle. I think it was like a middle ground. I don't think it scaled back too much, but I think there was a lot of stuff that they didn't implement until like I think GTA 5 is where they implement all that stuff back in there with like random bullshit you can do. Like this one, you can play darts, play pool, get drunk. Drunk driving is the worst thing ever, and I did the dumbest thing and get onto a motorcycle, and it's just a fucking nightmare. Just me just going zigzagging all over the place.
You feel drunk like
and it's like I can barely drive a motorcycle. Maybe. It was worse than that. No, it's worse than that. Holy shit! It's like it's bad. I'm like it's unplayable. I had to do a mission where he had to get drunk. I was like, this is bullshit. I almost quit the mission. It's unplayable because like there's like 85 cops trying to pull me over, and I'm like, oh my god, I just don't want to do this, man. I just want to get in the cab and just take me there. But
I knew you were having fun with this. I'm so mad at myself for not getting it when it was on sale. And I don't have it. I'm looking back here. I'm
sure.
I have like Xbox 360 A through G back here. And I do not. I have a sealed copy of San Andreas for some reason for 360. And what was that other one? Oh, I have GTA 5. And I'm like, what? I know I played this on 360. I must have got rid of it at some point.
Yeah, it might have been one of those weird ones where like, there's so many copies, I'll buy it again.
8 gig install for GTA 5 for 360 with 2 discs.
I don't listen to any of the licensed music radios.
As Goodwill noted, like, hey, make sure you sell that guy the 2 discs. It's got 2 of them. It's in sleeve 147.
Hey, it could be worse, but like, oh.
This is the back in the day of install discs. Do they still have? I feel like something recently had an install disc to it.
I think, what was it, Cyberpunk?
That might be one of them.
I think
that might be one of them.
Has one.
Red Dead Redemption 2, I think, has one also. Yeah. It's 2 discs.
2 good illustrations.
But yeah, the other thing I'll add on there is I don't listen to too much of the licensed music, which gets patched out every so often when the licensing goes bad. I do listen to the rip-off NPR thing on there, which is called PLR.
Brent showing us Final Fantasy VII Remake had an install disc. That's right, on PS4. Data disc. Data or data?
And then
had a data
God
disc
bless
and a play disc. So
yeah, God bless the PS5 with Ultra HD, and I think it's
everything.
One disc. But 100 gigs. Yeah, I listened to the PLR, which is like their bullshit version of NPR, and it's like their skits on there are still funny as hell, man. Like you hear the stuff that happened at that time. It's like everything is either HMO, healthcare, terrorism. That's it. That's like the biggest things they talked about, and that's the stuff that probably was big at the time when this game came out. Like
I mean,
like it's like bits on there. It's like it's like this is ridiculous that you don't want to pay $30,000 for the surgery. So why should we give this out to free for everybody? It's like that whole that's whole conversation on there they have on there. Like you should fill out all these forms and maybe survive long enough to get the surgery. It's like what are we, like a communist nation? It's like we're going to be speaking what was it like? We're gonna be speaking Russian and then Cuban. I was like, because I always shake my head because like we're gonna speak Russian or Cuban. It's like Cuban's not a language, but like it's dumb bits like that on there. It's like it's bad. It's like it's satire, but it's still, some of them are funny and some of them are cringe. So, but it's like.
But they're like, it's historical satire. Like, we're gonna look back on those same.
At that time,
so that what was that 2007 or 2008. We will look back at that just like we do an SNL skit or some other type of comedic viewpoint of what was going on then. I think that was like healthcare.gov and stuff. It was that same. There were bits where you had like the fake Obama playing Call of Duty, or it's like, hey kids, make sure you go to healthcare.gov and check out those healthcare plans. I was playing, so I guess GTA 5 satire is a little more recent, but I would listen to those radio stations the last time I was playing it, and I was like, some of this stuff is still pretty spot on. It's not too far. I mean, the healthcare thing is still, it's not too far removed. We still haven't fixed it.
That's why I'm kind of worried about this new GTA that's coming out, because I know the Housers have nothing to do with it. They had their hand in all these ones, so true. One of the brothers have always written the script for all these Grand Theft Autos. So like, I'm kind of curious to see where, since they both left Rockstar, I'm kind of curious to see where direction this game's going to go, since they don't have that.
I mean, there's so much of a template
anymore,
there, and that's, I hate to say it, but the campaign's not your moneymaker anymore, right? Like, that's, so it's online, you're going to release the story for reviewers, and I know that data's out there, like 15% of people who finish the campaign or whatever those numbers are versus engage in online and buy Great White Shark codes and cards and stuff like that. Small percentage.
Get those shark bundles with your Grand Theft Auto 5 purchase as they re-release them.
Remember that was the reason it was on NPD for so long. We kept talking about it in NPD, like physical sales was because they would bundle it with the shark cards. Yeah.
Adrenaline pack.
Bundles, yeah. Yeah, get this Lamborghini that you can fly out the plane and never use a game.
We laughed 5 years ago.
If you don't save it in your garage, it's gone.
We laughed 5 years ago. We were like, "This is dumb. This won't last." And it's 2023. It's 5 years later. They're still selling.
I've not put 1 minute in the Grand Theft
I've never fired it up. I can admit. And my only interaction with it is watching that guy's video that every year he pops into PS3 online and checks out. Like, why are you playing this? I think Brant knows this guy too. I think Brant, you sent it to me the first time, and then we all shared it here. Why are you still playing first Black Ops? You know there's Black Ops 4, right? Black Ops Cold War.
Oh god, Black Ops 1 is good, man. The single player is good. I almost bought it on Steam because it was like
they're all $20. I just got to looking at them too, and I've got World War II. I've got that one on Steam through Humble Bundle, I think.
Same here. That's
so every time it's like, I haven't played that one, but then I saw Infinite on sale, and I was like, Cesar always talks about.
Infinite's good, man. I was like, I went like you. I went to the whole Activision bundle. I was like, fuck, but I was like, I would fucking buy Black Ops, man. I love Black Ops. That's too
much to play already, and they got me with Klonoa. I got to thinking about you guys, and I was like, hell, would want me to support Klonoa. I gotta get it while it's on sale. Another platform of Klonoa.
I just bought those Grandia games on Humble Bundle.
I might get the first one. I've got the second one on like 3 platforms already.
Just got them physical last week
on
Switch.
See, I feel like I bought that SKU like 3 years ago. How is that? Like, was it reprinted on somebody else's?
Okay, Play Asia did a reprint. I think it's from Arxis Games.
Okay.
Did the reprint.
Hey, I'll find out tomorrow if I'm in the next VGP printing of the Final Fantasy Pixel remasters, because I think I've settled on playing those instead of doing the Steam ones until the Steam ones get an update. Once again, I'm ready to give.
Yeah, this is coming.
I'm ready to give my money to corporations, but they're not. It's not. There's no parity amongst these different SKUs. So
I think. Didn't they say they sold like 2 million copies? I was like, you need to release more old shit, man. Fucking hell.
Who would have thought? I mean, people love old games, and old games. This generation, like my kids, they don't know old games from new games. It's just a historical context that I tell them. Oh, this one came out 30 years before the one you know.
So before I kick it over to you guys to finish up, I'm done. But the Grandia on the Humble Bundle, because I forgot, I don't know about you, Brand, but I know me and Richard are members of the Humble Bundle.
Careful here, Cesar. So I've spent a lot of money recently.
It's extra It's an extra 10% off. So I ended up. I've never seen it lower than $9.99, but with the Humble Bundle and our discount, it was $7.99. So I bought both.
They were each
so I was like, that's the lowest it's
$7.99,
ever been.
right?
It's never been less. $7.99 each. Yeah, they've never been less than $10 each. So I ended up buying both because it's normally $20, and they've always been on sale for $9.99. Now that's why I never jumped because like it's always $9.99. But when I went to Humble Bundle today, it's like fuck.
That's how
$7.99.
Klonoa got me.
Because I ended up paying like $16 for both. So
Renee says we sound like comics. How do we sound like comics? Sales, maybe? Or reprints?
Maybe.
Yeah, he's talking about reprints. Yeah, it feels like that sometimes.
But that's it for me, guys. I'll kick it over to you. But if you're gonna Grandia it up, what's funny is I did play Grandia 2, and I played it on the widescreen. And so for whatever reason, that game's made 4x3, which not whatever reason. That's
it's a dream. Yeah, it's a Dreamcast game.
The game is designed by 4x3. So it's weird when I play it because like it cuts. It's widescreen. The game's designed for widescreen, but it cuts off on the sides for whatever reason. The 4x3 parts. So like you'll get the fade to black when it does the transition in the scenes. So the funny part was like, and whatever on the left and the right stays the same as the original background. So I still see the force and all that bullshit on there. So I got into a bit where Ryoto was he just got paid for the job he just did, and they hate on him, right? The villagers like, oh, you're garbage. And so they walked off the screen on the normal size one, and then they got to the very edge, and they sat there on the very edge. And they stayed there, because it was supposed to be cut off, but I got that cut off part. So they're just standing there like this when their story bit's there and just sitting there. So it's like, but in the original game of 4x3, they're off the screen. So it's like, I'm getting weird.
You're getting out of balance.
Janky stuff.
You're getting out of balance.
It was pretty funny because they're just standing like this, and I was like, oh, what the fuck are they doing over there? It's like, it's because it's not supposed to be a widescreen game, but I'm getting like all.
But the game rendered them like, being off screen, but not. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, because if I didn't play the widescreen, they would have been off screen. Yeah. So like, but it's like I saw their bodies on the left hand side. They're just standing there.
That's worse. That's worse somehow.
Like, God bless PC gaming, man. You see bullshit like that, and I was like, that's why the console experience is a lot times better because you don't have to deal with the janky stuff on there.
No options, no customization. Just here you go.
But I haven't played them on Steam Deck. I don't know if they're Steam Deck compatible, but they may or may not be. But it does look good on the 16X, so it looks better than when I played on my Switch.
Steam one, I think. Because I think it launched.
They came out with the anniversary edition.
Not so great, but I think it's been patched at this point.
Yeah, it's a lot better now. It's worth it now at this point. So, all right, I'm gonna kick it to.
I'll briefly touch because I think Brant's gonna have the grand finale now that he may or may not have hands on his deck, or hands on someone else's deck. Played some more Skyrim. I've started to get sidetracked from the main quest. I thought I beat it. Did I talk about that last week? No. Okay, so I thought I beat Skyrim. It's all been gearing towards this big baddie, and you've got to learn a certain amount of things, and you need to know something to take on the big baddie. It all led towards, like, you're basically in Bowser's Castle, right? And there's a really cool, Cesar, I know along with Heist, you're a big fan of, like, time twists and multiverse type things. And there was an awesome time twist thing. And I won't go into story details about it, but all of a sudden I was like a window to another event. And I hear one of the characters, there's 3 characters in front of me, and you can't do anything but watch. And it's probably like a 10-minute scene that you're just standing there and you're observing what happened because it leads into what you needed to learn from being in this situation. And I hear this guy, and the first thing he says, I'm like, I know who this is. Who the fuck is this? And by probably the second or third sentence, I'm like, this is the Colonel from Metal Gear. And I look up this character because he's not in the game. He's not in the rest of the game. It's like I said, it's a time bending type sequence. So I haven't encountered him before, and I'm like, it's a fucking Colonel. Paul Edling, I think is his name. Edling. Yeah, it's the Colonel. And then who else is he? It's he's somebody else is he Major Zero in Snake Eater? He's like the first iteration of the Colonel.
It's also he's like the grandfather.
Really? He did that voice? Okay.
Yeah.
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 So Grandpa. I hear this and it's just like it takes me out of. I hear that voice actor. We all have these voice actors right across like games and anime and stuff. It's like I know who you are. And then immediately I'm like, this is the fucking Colonel, but he's in robes and he's like trying to throw stuff at a dragon. Like, this is not the Colonel I know. I've touched on, there's a political conflict. As soon as you start playing Skyrim, you're caught up in the political conflict. So they try to make you immediately pick a side. It's a very loose affiliation. You don't have to follow either one of those. You can decide whether you want to be, basically it's the rebels versus the Empire. And neither one of their causes has really spoken to me in this playthrough as far as, man, I really want to see where this story goes concerning this side quest, or I'll suit up with this side and go do these missions that they want me to do. It was never compelling enough. I didn't care. And the characters will talk about, oh, we don't want to side with the Stormcloaks, we don't want to side with the Imperials, and I'm just like, who cares? There's fucking dragons everywhere. They're killing people. Let's move along. And so the story is actually finally caught up to that, where I'm kind of forcing their hand to where they have to figure something out because of the dragons. So that's been a lot of fun. I've done the 2 bits I need to do there, and I'm going to go... there's been some stewards of the voice, which if you've seen any of the Skyrim marketing over the past 12 years, they have shouts, the Fus Roda thing. So your character has these shouts that they do, which is... Yeah, shout it all out. The famous Tears for Fears shouts that they teach you. But it's like the dragon's tongue, and you're the dragonborn, and you can speak the dragon's language, and you can talk to the dragons, and why are the dragons back, and now you're all of a sudden here. So there's that's part of the story intrigue too. So it was actually really cool. I've looked at how certain missions would play out if I were to side a certain way, or to decide to be more influenced by some of the dialogue decisions, because it can really go certain ways. But these stalwarts that I was talking about, of the voice, of having that dragon speak, they're called the Greybeards, and they live high up on this mountain, and they initially teach you some of your shouts, and they fill in some of the lore gaps as to why you are who you are, and the reason the dragons can talk to you, and that sort of stuff. So it seems like they're above all of the political conflict, so that's where the story is kind of headed, is we're going to send these hostile parties to a neutral party and see if we can figure things out. So I know where the bad guy's at. I don't know how to get there. I think this is part of figuring out how to get there. I also stumbled into a person on the side of the mountain who all of a sudden is like this archer expert. So I was able to level up really fast with my archery skill, which is my jam. I turned a corner with... So I've always had my house Carl with me. Her name's Lydia. It's like the first one they give you. And she fights alongside me. And she helps pick up the slack, because every bow from like the first one up to this point, and I think I'm close to 25 hours in this game at this point, it's so slow to... and I've unlocked like an ability to slow down time. So if somebody's moving, I can slow down time and draw my bow out. But it's not like I draw the bow faster. It's all in the same time as slowing down their movements. But I just unlocked 30% faster bow time, which is like a drastic change. So I haven't died in a long time, except for stupid shit like jumping off a mountain or something, which I was telling friend of the show Russell earlier. I'm almost scared because I've played so much of this, and part of my interaction with Breath of the Wild was like, oh god, this is like Skyrim but Zelda, and I love it. Am I going to be ready for another one of those? But I remember from Breath of the Wild, there were so many times where you'd be somewhere and it's like, okay, I can just float from here. I just jump down and have the parasail thing. And that's killing me in Skyrim, because I'm like, oh god, I got to fast travel somewhere. I got to slowly walk down this mountain, because the fall damage in Skyrim is worse than Halo, I would say. My guy's like, whoa, every time you fall off like a rock, it's like, whoa. Cesar, you remember the early days of PUBG when you'd be like in the Jeep and everybody's got full health and level 3 vests and everything, and you hit a rock and the whole fucking Jeep just like explodes?
Yeah. It's like when we play Modern Warfare and we jump out the plane, we took a hit in the armor, remember? They finally patched that out, didn't they? Because that doesn't happen anymore, right? Oh no, it still does. You always start with 2.
Yeah, you start with 2, and then they have the potential...
I think they just patched out the damage because I was like, oh, I was like, what do I always get hit when
They
I get out
changed the
plane? It's
vest,
like,
so we had like a level 3 vest, which gave you the 3 tiers. Then they got rid of those, and you would just level up that regular vest to 3 tiers. And then they came out with the new one that has like the 2 supersets of it. But in my experience, you die just as fucking fast with that thing as you do with the. It does not matter.
Yeah.
You see how much fucking Warzone has changed, and fucking Halo Infinite.
Warzone, just we've been hooked for what, 4 months, 3 months, January, February.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a drastically different, better game. Still the same, still fun.
I mean,
yeah,
always updates.
You can play as Kevin Durant.
You
now.
can play as a Shredder, the legendary Shredder. But that's it for Skyrim. I talked way more about that than I thought I was going to. And then Warzone. We had some matches here and there. We played some today, probably 7 or 8 matches of like top 5, a 9th place here or there. And then we won, 6 o'clock, about 2 hours before recording. Myself, Young Brant, friend of the show Russell, and friend of the show Dale. We did the quads. So Cesar, you'll like this. Our new strategy is land on. Oh, Cesar, you gotta win this weekend. Without killing anybody. I heard you were just wandering around and somebody died in the gas. I heard this tale.
Yeah,
we had a very similar story.
Yeah, the canal gas.
We got one. Did we get one yesterday? The same type thing.
I lost power.
Cesar dropped and we won that one.
Yeah.
Yep. That's what it was.
Because I was watching. Trails. I was spectating Cesar. Yep. He was like scoped in on somebody, and I saw the guy leave, and he was still scoped in, and then I saw somebody else like walk in, walk right into his scope, and then walk out. And the whole time I'm like, Cesar, take the shot, take the shot.
So the win yesterday that they're talking about, we kind of creep up. No, we got back-to-back wins. Y'all were part of the first win, and then I got the second one just by surviving. So you guys came out of the water on the first one, and actually Cesar and I got killed coming out of the water, and Brant, there's 3 guys that killed me and Cesar looking over the edge, and we're down, and I'm like, Brant, there's 3 guys, there's a whole squad, they're a whole team, and it was like less than 30 seconds, Brant had bobbed and weaved through the buildings, and then, because we're watching him, we see somebody to the right, and I know as soon as you down that person, I'm like, there's 3 behind him, or 2 behind him, they're going to come running up there. And I wasn't paying attention to the teams, just like the one today. But as soon as you down him, that victory thing goes across, and I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
And just like today's, that win we got, if you look at that clip, there's 2 teams and 5 people. So I usually am pretty good at glancing up there, but we were like super dramatic coming out of the canal, and we ran up the hill, and I jumped over this fence post, and I'm laying into somebody, and I drop them. But if we had seen, we would have known it was 4v1. And I was like, who?
Because we were running up there, and both Dale
they're in the gas.
We're like, we're not going to make it. We're not going to make it. Yeah. Me and you were just trying to figure out where to get up and jump.
I don't know what they changed in like the past 2 days, but the gas is way more intense than it was before. And I found out today, you cannot put on a gas mask in the gas. You have to get out of there to equip that gas, the gas mask. Because I tried doing. Yep, the second one. Once your first one busts, because you have to get out of there to put that other one on. I found that out the hard way. Because I thought I was going to die, and we ended up winning that one. It did not, that was the one yesterday. That one did not, and I'm just wandering around. I didn't even get a kill. It just popped up and said victory. I was getting matrixed out of this house. All the walls were in front of me. I was like, I'm going to die here. And I self-revived one time, and then all of a sudden we get the victory scroll. So that was a good time. Warzone is awesome. Haven't paid for a single thing this season and can't tell the difference. All right, we're well into 2 hours at this point. Brant, bring us home. I talked way too longer.
I'm going to go over just a few things real quick. First, Resident Evil 4.
Finish it?
Thought I would finish it. Got a couple corrections. It is not 14 chapters. I don't know where I picked that up.
Oh.
It's 16 chapters. So to my dismay, I was like, oh, I'm right here. I'm right at this has to be the end. I even got to a part where you have one of those elevators that kind of goes up the hill sideways. I was like, I remember that. I think that's like right here at the end. And I had sold all my gems and jewelry and extra crap to the merchant, and then all of a sudden I get to the end part. There's a cutscene, and then end of chapter, and it goes on. I'm like,
this is not the end I remember.
So I look up, and well, there is stuff that hadn't happened, and I just hadn't thought of it. There's 16 chapters in all. The other note, the rocket launcher is not one of those things where you buy it once and you're good, and you get one rocket per chapter, like I thought. I had heard that somewhere.
This podcast?
No, you use it one time, and it is gone. You can buy it next chapter if you'd like.
Oh,
one time use.
It is 80,000.
Ooh.
And it is one time use.
Well, I'm glad you told me that, Brand, because I'll
refills
save mine to the very end.
I bought it twice. Because
the worst story I ever heard in my life.
I used it against one boss. You get an achievement for that as well. So I don't know if you want to do it just for the achievement. And then I
want to survive. That's the only reason I want to do it.
Yeah, I got farther into the story. Regenerators. I somewhat forgot about them. And then as soon as I ran into them, like, oh god, these fucking things. And then fuck Krauser. I hated Krauser. He was another one. I went through several stages. His fight is a little bit different in this one, and it got to the end stage and 2 times, and he just is freaking fast, and his quick time events kind of thing
Jack
happens.
Krauser?
It kept fucking me up
for some reason.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I that was my second RPG. Literally, that.
You just wanted to be done.
Fight started. I just bop done.
See ya, buddy.
I don't know. I've been saving my my Magnum ammo for that. I haven't used any of that ammo yet.
No,
so.
I've used my Magnum quite a bit.
Is that hard to come by too, like the rockets?
You find it every now and then, and you can craft it too, of course.
As one does. I just make my own ammo at home.
But I'm in the middle of chapter 15, so I'm closer to the end. The difficulty it seems like it has ramped up more right here toward these last couple chapters, because it's getting to the point where I'm running out of ammo a hell of a lot more. It's
living up to the Resident Evil name.
Yeah,
this is the only Resident Evil I've ever beaten is the original. I just remember it going on and on. I thought I beat it. I thought I beat it. It just kept going.
I'm at this point where there are waves and waves of enemies. I'm working my way up this little hill, and then I get rid of all those enemies, and then I get up to there's these 2 buildings on either side of me, and as soon as I walk up to them, more enemies come out, and then I beat all of them. I start walking around, and one of those big motherfuckers with the ox head on top of their head comes out, and more enemies pop out. Jesus Christ,
never ends.
Come on, man. So I just paused on that because my deck came in.
Steam Deck
actually came in.
Yeah, Steam Deck.
And I downloaded some Steam games.
Renee, join us. Steam Deck.
Oh god, you're trying to get Renee on there.
And
Renee, join us. Sorry, Brian.
No, you're good. Really, a lot of my time with the Steam Deck has just been downloading my Steam games or downloading some of the extra stuff. I've messed with MU Deck, which is a emulation station kind of deal.
We know, because every time you log into MU Deck, it's like, hey, Brant's on MU Deck. It lets me know every 5 seconds.
I don't get the notifications. What do I need to change or not change?
I knew you were on there for Skyrim, because every time I see Richard's on Skyrim, it's before on there. When I was playing Grand Theft Auto, I was like, Richard's on Skyrim, and then something must have happened because he restarted Skyrim because Richard's back on Skyrim.
Oh yeah, I'll fast travel somewhere and I'm looking at a black screen and I'm the John Travolta thing. I'm like, is anybody? I try to hit buttons and I try to shoot arrows, nothing. Before that, it was Wolfenstein.
One of the first things I booted up on there was Simpsons Hit and Run for PlayStation 2. PlayStation 2 emulation is good. It's really, really good. I also, with setting up Emulation Station, you do have the option to tie it to a website called Retro Achievements, which is free to sign up. So I've signed up, and you log in Emulation Station, you start a game, and it'll pop up in the top. It'll identify what game. Most of the time, there was one game that I played. It was like cannot identify, but most of the time, it's popped up and said,
That's cool.
"Boop, 20 achievements for this game, 50 achievements for this game."
That's really cool.
Brand, join me. Join me with the Fatal Frame achievements. They're hard.
So
You did not sell
like
anybody
today,
on
I put
your
in,
Fatal Frame playthrough.
Today I booted up Burning Rangers.
Oh.
And I started playing through that whole first level. It's a pretty damn good game. And just like you were saying, there's one person, his name is Big Land Man. And he's one of those voice actors that I was like, I know that voice. And I literally forgot about it until you were just talking about that now. His name is Roger Rose, and he's literally just been in
Tons
everything
of shit.
as background characters in everything.
It's gonna be like a Cam Clark is in like every game. And
Also Metal
every
Gear.
game, every cartoon, every anime, like background character. Cop number 5.
He was not the Kratos from God of War, but Kratos in Tales of Symphonia as well.
There's multiple Kratos. Does it look like him?
Yeah.
Does it look like Kratos?
It just sounds like, you can tell instantly it sounds like him. It sounds like it fits his voice.
Yeah.
So.
There's a lot of stuff that doesn't need BIOS. I
Such as
played a couple rounds of Crazy Taxi.
Dreamcast does not. Yep. I played Virtua Tennis with some weird artifacting. Maybe it's just that game.
GameCube doesn't need a BIOS either. I do have it set to the 16:9 for the 3D games, and I haven't had a problem except for I booted up Super Mario Sunshine and played for a bit, and the sides of Super Mario Sunshine had that weird
the shimmer thing,
that weird like wobbly like heat wave effect to it, and it was really bothering me. So I don't know if there's a way to fix that. I gotta look.
What did I see?
Or maybe just not play that one in 16:9.
I saw that on something in the PS2 emulator, and I just changed one of the filters, like one of the rendering things, and that cleared it up. So it may be. Because of course, when you get with the, even though these are standardized emulators, you still have tinkering that you have to do to get them. Yeah. Because I didn't expound on this, but I changed something in that PS2 one, and Final Fantasy X International now runs at like 10 frames per second. Tidus runs like, he's already like got this slow lope, but I'm like, what did I do? And I can't figure out what it is. He just like, it's awful.
Let's see. Other than that, I booted up like Kingdom Hearts just to see how that ran. That ran great, of course.
Are those on Steam? Are Kingdom Hearts games out?
Why?
The not yet. They're in EGS still.
Okay.
They're EGS.
But there's ways to get that stuff on there.
It's going to be like the name escapes me, but it was on EGS and they just put it on Steam not too long ago.
Hitman?
No, it's from same Square Enix, from same guy. It's Kingdom Hearts adjacent.
Final
Fuck, I don't remember what the name is.
Go ahead,
oh my
Brant.
God. Brant, you keep going, I'll find it. You're going to be like, oh yeah, that thing.
Remember me.
When I tell y'all.
God dang, I can't remember.
Stop.
I booted up something in Citra, the 3DS emulator, and I can't remember what it was.
How did that perform?
Actually, it was okay.
Yeah.
It had like a little.
The World Ends With You.
There we go. World Ends With You. Oh, Road Rash for Sega CD, because I love that version just because of the soundtrack, and it plays the entire time. I was playing it and showing my son.
Like my creation of the soundtrack?
That's what we all remember.
No, it's got like a bunch of Soundgarden and other just great 90s tunes.
Yep. Early to mid 90s grunge showcase.
Oh yeah. And it's that the FMVs are nothing but like pure 90s.
Extreme sports.
And I was showing my son, I was like, I'm going to have to show you the next FMV and just let you see it. Because the Sega CD was just notorious for these horrible, grainy videos. Oof. It was like 140p.
They're
but
bad.
Like through a cheesecloth.
Yeah. It's the screen door effect they always talk about with VR stuff that I don't really see. And I'm kind of an oddball for visual quality and stuff. It's like, I don't see this. I need to keep not seeing this.
On the original PlayStation VR, there's some of that screen dooring. I've seen it.
I never really did. And I hope I continue to not, because that might be my, like, I can't do this.
Yeah. Other than that, I mean, I haven't tried some of the stuff, like, I did put in some Wii U games on there, but they didn't show up, so I'm just going to have to play around. I might just have to uninstall, reinstall that.
Did you try anything with N64? Because I've got 2 N64 ROMs that it's a black screen. I got nothing.
No,
and I'm doing
I haven't really tried
there.
N64.
Okay.
I haven't really tried that yet.
Let me know if you dabble with it and if you change any settings, because mine's just... I hear Paper Mario, and I hear Zelda, but nothing happens.
Oh, Resident Evil, the remake on GameCube.
Mm-hmm.
I put that in. That looked pretty good.
Solid.
Still have to get used to those controls and the mapping of the Steam Deck for that one.
Maybe get the Steam version of that one, because even though I said I had some issues with the opening cutscene of that one, I Google that and you figure out what's wrong, what to change. But it gave you original controls and then like more modern, so it's not as weird. It doesn't flip flop on you per screen type thing.
And what was funny is I thought of you while I was playing that opening, and there is a part where like the camera's zoomed in. Mm-hmm. It's that kind of rainbowy RGB color, and the camera is zoomed in on a TV, and it like zooms out, and you see the reporter on the TV and everything. And I was like, that's what Richard was talking about.
Nope, that glitch. If you buy the Steam version and you play with the high preset that automatically it selects, it glitches. It's like something happened in Raccoon City. People have been eaten. And you're only looking at that broadcast delay screen, and then immediately it's like enter the survival horror, and I'm like, I don't think this is how it starts. The dogs have to chase me. Like there's a whole thing. The doors are opening, and then Barry's talking to me. I'm like, something's not right here. I'm not playing this.
Yeah, it worked flawlessly for the GameCube port. Gosh, I'm trying to remember. I didn't really try any GameCube or anything like that.
They're all built off of that one, so that's
or not GameCube, Game Boy. Okay. I didn't try. I did add some It's weird. Usually PlayStation 1's the first thing I jump onto, but I guess because I know that's going to work, I didn't try it.
Yeah.
I did add some PS1 and PSP games today. I didn't really jump into them.
PSP is pretty straightforward. Does the PS2 BIOS work for PS1 games? Can you load PS1 games in that emulator? Okay, so I won't even fuck with that.
I didn't try it.
So just use like DuckStation for PS1 stuff?
Yeah.
DuckStation.
I use DuckStation. DuckStation...
They said that's the definitive one, so...
Yeah.
And then
I mean, it loads quickly when I do the save states, and it's like it...
And then what? PSP, SP, PSP?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing, is if I had a bunch of old ROMs that like they were all weird and abbreviated, so some stuff actually had the name, or some stuff I knew what it was, and so it's really easy to go through the back end and just click something real quick and load it up on the desktop version, just see what the game is.
Have you gotten them to copy over to the Steam OS and look decent-ish?
Oh, yeah.
Or okay, I fought with some of the.
Well, no. I only use it
inside the emulator.
I only have emulation. Oh yeah, EmuDeck.
Yeah. I
didn't want to clutter my whole Steam library page with all these different tiles of all these different.
Do you
games.
launch it from the desktop side or the Steam side?
Steam side?
I need to see how you did that because it shit all that stuff out on my Steam OS side.
If I go to the libraries, I think, and like, if I go to my library and then one section, it's got all the emulators in there. If I wanted to, I could go into each emulator, but otherwise, I go into EmuDeck and I scroll through, and there's all SNES. There's Genesis.
You see how you have your
things on there. Yep. So, and that's really about it. I haven't really been.
Welcome to Steam Deck. I would buy a Steam Deck shirt if they would sell it. I like that logo a lot. Did you know it's like Saturn based? Have you seen that with some of the boot up animations and stuff? Yeah, it's like it's a Saturn. It's the planet, the gas planet with like the rings around it. And I'm like, lean into that. Don't make it just the little brief snippets. Speaking of not marketing something, but I guess they don't have to at this point.
Yeah.
All right, is that it for us? After a lengthy episode, after last week's very short episode, you got double the NOFODcast from last week. We appreciate double your Patreon donations. Yeah, we're not live on Patreon yet. Maybe in our fifth year we go live with some sort of compensation. We appreciate you being here after 5 years, through 5 years. Welcome if you're new this week or if you've been here since week 1. But we appreciate you joining us this week, and we will catch you next week. Bye.
See you.
Adios.